Hey everyone, we're going to start in about a minute. We're just waiting for everyone to join and then we'll start. Okay. Hi everyone. Are you guys able to hear me? Just drop a quick yes or no in the chat. Everyone, just drop a quick yes or no. If I'm audible properly to everybody. Okay. Let me share my screen. So in the last class, we logged out with a small bug with us, remember? Anybody tried how to solve that? Because I tried that. And again, like just like that JPA, the JPA query bug took me about like 3-4 odd hours to resolve what was the issue. I tried a couple of permutations and combinations. I initially thought maybe the socket service has some issue. So I made a normal service. Like, first of all, I thought maybe because there is a socket server and the normal REST server is together, maybe that might be causing some issue, but that was not the case. I made some normal server. That's not the case. I made a call from non-Java servers. Couple of things I tried here and there. After Omkar, actually, I guess during that I changed REST controller to controller, but more or less, that was not the case. So the problem I'll tell you 1 second. So I don't know exactly the root cause, like what might be the reason for it. It's one thing is like you debug and you get unblocked. One thing is the reasoning as well, right? Let me open it. Okay, a lot of windows are open. Okay, so one thing was that here in the test controller we had to okay, not this. This is the sample one that I created. Let me open the booking service. Tap, tap, tap. 1 second. And let me also recent projects. Let me open the service discovery new window. So the problem was somewhere around with the service discovery. Now, because we had, let me show you, like, I know the resolution that I will tell you that worked for me will be kind of odd, but let me open everything, new window. So we have booking service. Let's open the location service as well. Just a second, it's running a bit slow today. Location service. New window. Okay. So interestingly, the socket service also we integrated with, if you guys remember, we integrated that with the Eureka server. Okay. Now, I'm not sure why, but I just did one thing. I changed the port here. I just shut down everything. Like all the servers I shut down. I started the service discovery. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll turn off the service discovery. Okay. And just the only thing that I did extra was just to change that where it is. Was it all commented out once again? Yeah, this one. Okay. The only thing that I changed was change it to @REST controller. I like previously we were checking this /new ride option, right? Then I also changed it to just a get request that can make a call to this and just return a Boolean. Even this was not initially working. Then what I did is just mark it with the REST controller. I guess it was already marked with the REST controller, but during the debugging, I did something here and there and changed the port here. Let's try it out. I'll turn up my location service as well. Okay. And I'll also open the Eureka server. Localhost 37. Like generally a lot of time in companies, you will not get chance to set up Eureka service discovery and everything because most of the things are already done for you. But these projects are a good chance to actually do that yourself. Okay. Sorry, not 3761, 8761, my bad. Okay, so you can see location service is up. I'll turn up the socket server. So you can see the socket server is up, refresh, socket server is up, and booking service. Let's turn up the booking service. Like I even tried to make sure like I don't make a call through service discovery, I directly make a call to retrofit. I also changed to REST template. A lot of things I tried, and I still don't have the answer why just changing the port worked. Maybe that port was conflicting with something around on the Eureka client. Maybe it can be an intermittent my machine issue. But okay, if I refresh, you can see everything is good. Up, I'll open Postman. If I show you the flow, what's happening is the moment you create a booking, you make a call to process the nearby drivers asynchronously. Once you have the nearby drivers processed, then you make a call to raise ride request asynchronously. Currently, as of now, in the raise ride request, I just make a get call to a Boolean API. That is this one. This one, very plain simple. I'll change the API. I thought maybe I can do that in the class only, but this just plain API. Even this was not working, but as of my last test, or I would say last dry run, it was working. So, okay, you can see, let's try to create a booking. You can see booking ID 65. If you remember when we were doing it in class, we were on 15 or something. So you can understand how many times I tried. But if I go here and if I open the logs, can you see? This is now making a call and the driver response is coming. Driver response is coming as true. Can you see? So this is not failing the request now. So you guys can try it out once on your own. Let me know if you guys face any issue. Now, what I would like to do is, inside my socket server, I would like to turn on the remaining set of APIs. This one. Okay. And I even removed, you can see I just commented out everything. I didn't want any distraction on the code. So I'll just bring back everything all together. And okay, cool. So you can see actually which API we wanted to test. We wanted to check the post request to /new ride. And if you remember what this was actually doing, this was actually just making a call to send driver new ride request, right? And this was sending a new ride request on my front end. Remember, guys? Everybody. And if the riders accept that request, you can see we had a ride response. And if I open VS Code, where was it? One second. What was the repo name? I don't even remember. 2 दिन हो जाते हैं भाई, समझ में नहीं आता कौन से वाले फोल्डर में क्या कोड लिखा. इसके अंदर ही था क्या? सॉकेट वेब क्लाइंट था क्या? Uber. One second. क्या था? Uber Spring Project. CD Uber Spring Project. Socket Web Client. Okay. And if you remember, we try to get some alert. See, this was a confirm message. And if the user confirms that yes or no, whether they want the ride or not, what did I do? I used to make a call back on ride response. See, stomp client.send app/ride response, which used to give us the response here. Remember? So let's turn up the server. Localhost. Let's close our browser for a moment. Localhost 5500. Inspect console and refresh. Once again, is the server up? Are all the servers up? Let's quickly check. Yep, the socket server is up. Location server is up. Service discovery is up. And booking server is also up. Everything is up. Okay. And we need to restart the socket server because we have made some changes in the code. Like I uncommented a couple of things. I'll just restart the server. You can see server is up. And let's open it in Arc browser only. Okay. Localhost 5500. Inspect console. Okay, one second. Why again it is not connecting? Did I remove the CORS configuration? Let me just quickly check. Allowed origin patterns is there. You need to all, because Somnath is saying, do we need to turn up all the servers or just booking server? You need to turn up all the servers. Why? Because booking server is making a call to location service as well to fetch the nearby drivers. Then it is making a call to the Uber socket server also to make a call to connect to the client. And service discovery should be up because then only this inter-service communication is going to happen. Otherwise, they won't be able to figure out the, I would say, URL altogether, right? Let me have a new session. 1 second. Localhost 5500. Okay, why is this Not working. Let's check. I have to debug why sometimes it just blocks our front end request for course. Sometimes it doesn't. Need to check. Let's try with Mozilla once. Not even connecting with Mozilla. 1 second. Yeah, let's restart everything. Sometimes it does a problem with that. So let's close up everything. Okay. And let's restart. So at least our APIs are now connecting. Now we just have to show the flow that from the front end also we are able to connect with everything. Okay. Everything is off. Looks good. I'll just close the browsers here. Okay. Turn on the service discovery first of all. Okay, service discovery is up. Let's turn up the socket server. Socket server is up. And if I go to localhost 5500, inspect. No. Just a second, guys. This is frustrating. Okay, let me try with Safari. I'm not sure. Inspect. Yeah, even Safari is not connecting. Why is that? Something I changed. No. Why do you need the booking service? This is just for the socket connection. The client and server socket connection is not happening. Just let me take a look. Allowed origin patterns, star. Okay, let's see. That's set. Allowed origins, http:// local host 5500. Let's restart the server, socket server. I'm not sure. Do you guys also face the issue of client not connecting at one point, like immediately? Or does this connect for you like immediately? Yeah, mostly resolves, right? Today it's showing quite some good issue. HTTP localhost 5500. HTTP localhost 5500. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's maybe restart IntelliJ. I'm not sure. Let's restart. Close it, exit. And maybe it misses some headers or something. Maybe it's probably a library issue. It probably misses some headers in dev environment. Just a second. Somna, that's not going to happen. That's not going to help. I don't think so. That's going to help. Because the current configuration also does the same thing. It's like there are multiple ways to do the same thing. No, I didn't make any changes to the WebSocket file. Just a second. Uber service discovery. Where is the socket server? This is the socket server. And no change here at all. You can see no change as such. I just made a change for adding localhost 5500. But okay, let's see. Service discovery. Let's turn it up. Use IP for localhost. Okay, let's try that as well. But ideally, though, this allowed origin pattern should be more than enough. But again, okay, just one shot and then I'll maybe go to 192.168.0.1. Refresh. Okay, or maybe do one thing. Let's restart Chrome once. localhost 5500, inspect console. Yeah, let's do one thing. Let's change it with 192.168.0.1. Okay, let's restart. Yeah, this one. I guess this should also work. And what if I try 127.0.0.1? Mm-hmm. Any browser should connect. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's try to solve this. What's the problem here? Access control allow origin has been blocked by CORS policy. No access control allow origin header is present on the requested resource. What's the response coming up? Actually, it doesn't send back the access control header. That's the problem, probably. This response header should be there. Let's try to remove this set allowed origin buttons, maybe. Have you tried with 127.0.1, Akash? Does it work for you always? No, still not working for me at least. Okay, this is very frustrating. One second. Let's Google it. Somebody must have faced it. We should write it like Spring socket showing CORS error from browser. Okay, you didn't say how your HTML is the same. No. For resting, you can tell ignore to this. Okay. They're saying this also to add this, but I don't think this is going to help much, but let's see. We have a test controller. We removed it altogether. It was 5500. Let's restart. Yeah. Because this controller though is never hit even, like it doesn't even hit this controller. Let's see if from Chrome, maybe we can turn off that. How can we do this? Let's try this one out. Okay, let me open so that we can get unblocked early. Okay, so this one is without CORS security. Localhost 5500. Okay, this one is also not working. Let's see else. What else do we have? This one is socket.io. We don't need it with socket.io. And one second, did I add some CORS mapping or something? No. If I just remove all of this, and maybe let's do one thing. Let's restart the server here also. Let's restart the client server also, maybe. Go live. Okay, this is creating some problem. Turn off course security. Chrome. Hmm. Is there a flag for course? Let's see. Course. It's already on default. Uh, cross origin. Enable automatic beacons from cross origin frames. No, I don't think so. Which flag are you turning off, Akash? Omit TLS certificate if credential mode disallows. One second. Course. This one. Disabled. Relaunch. Inspect console. Yep. Doesn't help. Let's see. Some other people have also talked about it. Under set allowed origin, have you tried your localhost Angular instead of this? But it didn't work. Remove star. Just add your this, assuming where Angular is running. Okay. Code blocks using triple code don't work for all versions. Okay. Hmm. And one thing, one second. Local host 55. There is a dev mode also, right? Inspect. Just a second, guys. This socket server is not connecting. Or maybe let's do one thing. Let's turn off the service discovery for a moment. Maybe via the service discovery, there is some problem. Okay, then we'll start creating. Hmm. Everybody has just talked about Node. Hmm. It seems you are resolved with this issue. However, I have spent mornings earlier, and my solution was to with the with sock.js. Okay, one second. Let's remove the with sock.js. And let's restart the client as well. Okay, this is very weird. This is taking more time than ever. Uh, it's able to download everything around Storm. It's able to connect with this. That's okay. 5500 WebSocket is connected. When it makes a call to localhost 8080/info, this call is actually failing. Keep alive. Let's see what headers. Actually, it is not returning the right header. That's the only problem. If it will return the header allow origin, this will start working. dot. Okay, let's see. Let allowed origins, and I'll say http colon / localhost 5500 and comma http colon / 127.0.0.1 colon 5500. Let's add both of these manually, or maybe we'll change the endpoint. Maybe we'll change the name of the endpoint somehow. Let's see. No luck. So let's do one thing. Maybe it has, probably what is happening, it has cached this request. So I'll change it to /websocket dot with sock.js. I'll restart. And from the client, what I'll do is I'll say /websocket. Okay, let's connect to /websocket. Save it. And if I try on Arc browser, the opening a WebSocket connection, this from localhost 5500 has been blocked by CORS policy. Storm. And what do we have? Spring Boot. Most of the people have just done this. Most of the people did this, and I don't think adding a filter should help. /endpoint sort dot set allowed origins. Let's do one thing. Copy, paste. Let's have one without sock.js and one with sock.js. Let's see. बैटरी डेड, हाँ अभी है 12%। 12% में तो भाई मैं टेस्ट दे दूंगा कंपनी का। Why is this happening, guys? Let's see. Okay, I got it. Okay, so I was making a very small mistake. The port is 3002. This is making a call to 8080. Oh, what if this is the issue, no? Yeah, bugged. Thanks for the distraction, Puneet. भाई मैंने खुद ही पोर्ट चेंज किया था। मैं पोर्ट 8, like the client was still calling to all the older port 8080. भाई क्या कुछ कर दिया भाई हमने। यहाँ पे इतना करने की जरूरत थी नहीं। ठीक है। कह रहे चीता ही कहते। ठीक है guys, I was making a call to the wrong port because I manually changed the port from 8080 to 3002. I didn't change it on the client side and I didn't notice. But again, okay, cool. Makes sense. Let's turn up the remaining services. यार ये चीज तो एआई डिटेक्ट नहीं कर पाता, ये तो खुद ही करना पड़ता नहीं। अगर हम एआई को भी फीड करते, बट ठीक है। सिंपलर क्या है? सिंपलर ही है भाई, इससे सिंपल क्या होगा? कुछ चीजें एज अ डेवलपर खुद ठीक करनी पड़ती हैं सोमनाथ। ठीक है, लेट्स स्टार्ट। लेट्स मेक अ कॉल। लेट्स सी इफ द बुकिंग सर्विस लॉग्स आर अप। Looks like they are up. Oh, sorry, 1 second. This is down. Okay, we have to first turn off the location service. Okay. Now, if I make a request, you can see new booking request has been made. Okay, this is making a call. Okay, cool. Now, ideally, what you should do is, if you remember, I'm making a call to /API/socket. I don't want to make a call to /API/socket. I want to make a call to /API/socket/new write. This is what I want to make a call to. /new, right? And it's a post request. It's a post request. Okay. And what else? This expects us to send a ride request DTO. Can you see? So what I'll do is I'll come to my service, and here in the get nearby drivers, I need to make those changes. So here I'll say @body. Retrofit has @body. Ride request DTO. And here I will pass the request DTO altogether. Make sense, guys? So now instead of the get request, I'll make the post request so that the socket connection can also be called. Let's make this API call. And I'll just bring this one here. Okay, you can see the server is up. The booking server looks up and running. Yep. Let's make another call. 67. And can you see this time it says, you have a new ride request. Do you accept it? If I click on OK, right? And one second, I guess this is sending it here as well. That was for an old one. If I click on OK, you can see we are sending the response as true. Okay. And if I come to my socket server, can you see we are getting the response as true? Okay. If I make another request, and let's close the Arc browser. We don't need the Arc browser now. Close the Arc browser. Okay. Now you can see you have a new ride request. Do you want to accept it? If I say cancel, you can see I responded with a false, and you can see this is a false coming up. Are you able to get this point? So now when we are actually making a booking, at that point of time, we are fetching the nearby drivers, and then we are making a request to those drivers through the socket service. And whosoever is going to accept it, we have to do some action based on that. Are you guys able to get this point? Say a yes or no in the chat. Is this point making sense? So things are actually connecting now. Cool. So now you can see for this /ride response, what we can actually do is we can also expect a user ID here. Remember, we can expect a user ID here. Remember, message mapping user ID here. And we can have a destination variable user ID. Right? So maybe try to do that. So I'll say user ID, and I'll say @destination variable. I'll say probably let's say a string user ID. Okay. And I'll print the response, and let's say I'll print the user ID. Okay. Now let's run the server, socket server. Okay. And from here, for example, from Stomp client, when we are actually confirming, let's say when we are confirming, then instead of confirm, or let's say we have confirm, and we say if response is true, that means yes, the driver has accepted the request. Then in that case, let's say we will ask for the driver ID. Although what should happen is, if you remember, I talked about the fact that to every driver, we should manually send the request, but currently we are sending everybody in the room. We are currently sending the request to everybody in the room. So let's say we will ask the driver to put their unique driver ID. Okay. So for that, we can ask a prompt. ID is equals to prompt. Please enter your driver ID. Okay. We'll ask the driver to send the ID, and then we'll say stomp client.send /app/ride response $ID. JSON.stringify response. Okay. Else, we are not going to do anything, so we don't even need else. Let's save that here. You can see the service is up, booking service is up, discovery is up, location service, everything is up. Let's try to make another request. Okay. So if I send it, okay, it lost the socket connection again. Once again, what happened? Socket server is up. Once again, let's close this session. relaunch. And we'll also restart the server here. Go live. Inspect console. Okay, now it's not again connecting. 1 second. Very frustrating server. Inspect console. Okay, now what happened? We're connecting to slash. Oh, my bad. I believe this is slash web. So this is slash WS. Okay. I changed the configuration there. Close it. Now it should work. Yeah, you can see it's connecting. No problem. Now let's send the request. Okay. New booking has been created. And can you see it says, you have a new ride request from passenger 1. Do you accept it? If I click on OK, it's going to ask me to enter a driver ID. What were the drivers that we were able to fetch? You can see we were printing the driver ID here. Remember? Driver ID. So let's say I will print the driver ID as 3. Okay, I'll put the driver ID as 3, that I am the driver ID 3. If you click on OK, and if you go to the socket server, can you see we are able to receive the driver ID 3? Are you guys able to get this point? Say a yes or no in the chat. That, hey, I'm the driver ID 3. I accept the request. Doesn't matter if anybody else is accepting the request or not. Okay, cool. So now we are able to receive the fact that which driver is accepting the request. Are you able to get this point, guys? Now we need to send this data back to whom? We need to send this data back to our booking service. Yes or no, guys? We need to send this data back to our booking service. Remember, because who is handling the state of the booking? Currently, the state of the booking is what? Driver null, booking status, assigning driver. Right? So now in the socket service or the socket server, we have the data about which driver accepted the request. Now we need to send this data back. Right? So what I can do is from here, I can make a simple REST API call to my booking service. Okay, to my booking service. If you remember, we have an API that I wrote in the last class initially to update the booking. Remember? Everybody, do you guys remember this? Okay, so this is going to accept a update booking request DTO, which just gets the status and the driver ID. So what I will do is I'll maybe make a let's do one thing. Maybe you can also integrate retrofit here, or you can just say REST template, this dot REST template is equals to new REST template. Okay, and I can say this dot REST template dot, you can see patch for object. We can put the URL. URL is http:// localhost. And what's our booking service? Our booking service is at localhost 8001. Okay, what's the API? Booking controller /API /v1/booking /API /v1/booking. Are you able to get this point, guys? Say yes or no in the chat. And now what we need to do is we need to send our DTO as well. So we don't have that DTO, I guess, here. So what I'll do is I'll take the DTO. What is the DTO? Update booking request. I'll copy this, and I will paste it here in the DTO. Paste. Okay, you can see we have a DTO now coming up. And what I will do is I'll create a DTO. So I'll say update request DTO is equals to update booking request DTO dot builder dot build. And for now, you can say driver ID as, let's say, long dot parse long user ID dot status as, let's say, what's the status? Let's quickly check. We need to open the entity service. Let's open the entity service. 1 second. Recent entity service, new window. Okay. And let's see what's the booking status. So this is assigning driver schedule. Let's put scheduled here. Okay. And what's the problem with this? Optional dot off. Okay. And inside this patch object, what we are going to do, we are going to send this request DTO altogether. Are you guys able to get this point? What's happening here? Okay. Yeah. So Akash has a fair point. What Akash is saying is that how do we know which particular booking they have actually accepted? Somnath? Okay. Do you remember the flow, Somnath? The flow is user makes an API call. We make that API call to the booking service. Booking service, first of all, goes to the location service and fetches the nearby drivers. Then to each nearby driver, we make a request. And if any one of them accepts the request, we have to hit back to the booking service saying that, hey, an API, a driver has accepted a particular booking. Are you able to get this point? Omkar, I'll talk about that. 1 second. Are you able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat. Okay, so guys, now, how do we know on the booking side which particular booking ID we have to change to? Because if you remember, inside this API, we expect a booking ID as well. How many of you guys are able to get this point? Okay, guys, we have to send a booking ID as well, right? So if you see the booking controller, let's go here. When we are making a get nearby drivers call, from that, and we should not call it get nearby drivers. Let's change the name here. Raise ride request. Let's change the function name. Okay. Raise ride request. Okay. Now in the ride request DTO, you have the passenger ID and the driver ID. We should send one more thing, right? That is private long booking ID. Don't you guys think? We should also send the booking ID. Otherwise, we won't be able to identify which booking somebody has actually accepted. Are you able to get this point? Folks, is this point making sense? Okay, cool. So let's do that. So now we have a booking ID here. We'll go to my service. Inside the service, if you remember, we have a create booking DTO, new booking.get ID. Remember this new booking. So what I can do is I can pass this new booking.get ID here. And inside this function, I can have a long booking ID. Okay. And then that booking ID I can pass here as well. I'll pass the booking ID here as well. And this will also accept a long booking ID. Okay. This is cool. And or instead of passing this booking ID here, let's do one thing. We don't need to pass the booking ID here. Here also, we don't need to pass the booking ID here. We can say dot booking ID as booking ID. So inside the request DT only, we have the booking ID. Are you guys able to get this point? Okay, cool. Now, Once we make this request to the socket server, this is where we are receiving the request inside write request DTO. So let's make the change to this DTO as well. So I'll say private long booking ID. So we have now access to the booking ID here as well. That means here we are going to send the whole request DTO. So that means we are going to have the access to the booking ID on the front end as well. So remember, we have passenger ID, driver ID. So when we receive the data here, this data, right? What we should do is we should also try to access the booking ID. So I'll say const booking ID is equals to, I'll just take all of this, json.parse this dot booking ID. Okay. Make sense, everyone? We are going to send the corresponding booking ID as well. Are you guys able to get this point? And this booking ID we are going to send back as well. Okay. So we are going to say here in the slash user ID, we are going to get a write response. Inside the write response DTO, we have just the response, right? We just have the response. We can, let's say public long booking ID. Okay. Now this booking ID will be accessible inside the write response DTO. Got it? So from this write response DTO, we will fetch the booking ID. How many of you guys are able to get this point? And this update booking response DTO. So now the URL, first of all, the URL that we have to hit is going to be slash booking slash write response DTO dot booking ID. Also, let's send the booking ID from here. Booking ID from here. Okay. So from the front end also we'll send the booking ID. And what else? Okay, let's see why this is calling like this. Da-da-da. Okay, we have to get a response. 1 second. So what's the response of this API? Let's see what is the response of this API. If I go to my booking controller, it is update booking response DTO. So update booking response DTO, copy. I'll copy it from here. I'll put this DTO here as well. Inside my socket server also, we need the response DTO. So I'll paste. Okay. And 1 second. Now we don't need to send do we need to send the driver details? Yeah, we need to send the driver details. Okay. So now what's the problem is we are not able to access the driver here. Why we are not able to access the driver here? Oh, my bad. We copied the create booking DTO. 1 second. Let's delete this. Let's copy the right one. Update booking response, right? Copy and paste. Yep. So you can see we need the booking status and the driver here. Why we are not able to access the booking status and the driver, guys? Anybody? Very simple issue. Because we have not connected to the entity service. We need to do that. So I'll go to build.gradle and I will take the entity snapshot, copy, go here in build.gradle and paste it here. Refresh. Then apart from that, I'll add this annotation, entity scanner annotation, that scan the entity in this models as well. Okay. And let's go here and let's try to access it now. Once again, let's open this file again. Okay. So we've added the snapshot. Let's see whether it was added in the external libraries or not. com.example. Oh, yep. We need the Maven local as well. Maven local as well. Okay. And you can see now the snapshot entity is up. Cool. So let's come back here. And you can see now it is able to fetch it. Can you see it's now able to fetch it? Make sense, guys? So now in the controller, you will say something very similar to this. If you remember, we had an example here, right? Response entity of this we are going to get. So I'll say response entity of update booking response DTO result is equals to update booking update booking response DTO dot class. Okay. And let's see. This should be dot post for. Okay, so they have a patch for object. I guess we have to make some changes for a patch for object. Let's do one thing. Okay, I'm going to do one small thing just for getting unblocked slightly quickly. You can make this change later. Currently, we have a patch request here, right? I'll just make it a put request. Otherwise, we have to just do a small configuration for patch request. Booking controller. Let's make it a post request. Okay. I'll restart the booking controller and I'll restart the socket server as well. And let's see what happens. Okay. Cool. Okay, this is filling because okay, socket server was not up. That's why it was filling. And before I turn up the socket server, let's do one more thing. Let's print this result as well. So I'll say s out result dot, I would say get status code. Let's see what's the status code coming up. Let's restart this server. Okay. And now let's start the booking server. Let's create a brand new booking. Okay. So we will come back here. We'll create a brand new booking. You can see booking ID 71 created. And okay, it lost the connection once again. We need to create one more. Send it. And you can see we have a new ride request. Do you accept it? I'll say okay. And please enter your driver ID. I'll say driver ID 3. The moment I click on okay, you can see booking ID 72 we were receiving. And you can see this has failed with the request. What is failing it? Let's just quickly check. So try to execute this particular query and it says no such element. Let's see. Driver.get. We were not able to find the corresponding driver, I guess. Okay, it was not able to find the corresponding driver. Let's just quickly check why it was not able to find the corresponding driver. Booking request.get driver ID. Okay, let's see what is the driver ID coming up. S out. Let's see what driver ID is coming up. And I guess there is a driver ID 3, right? Let's just quickly check in the database. New query console, select star from driver. Raise the request. And okay, no, we only have a driver ID 1. We only have probably I just deleted it and it must be only in Redis. So let's do one thing. Let's raise another request, send it. This time let's set the driver ID as 1 because in the Redis I added the data, then I manipulated the data on the DB. So there is some inconsistency for some time, but okay. Okay, can you see? Looks like it has made some update to the booking. What was the booking that we created? Booking ID 73. Let's see what is the status of booking ID 73. Booking where ID is equals to 73. Let's see. Can you see the booking status is scheduled? Are you able to get this point, guys? And can you see that driver ID is also now associated, which was previously null? Are you able to get this point, guys? And we are able to have a end-to-end booking flow coming up. Are you guys able to get this point? First of all, tell me if this end-to-end flow of the booking of the driver, booking from the passenger, if you initiate, like you can make a passenger front end also make a request from there, and everybody will, like, you can see it's a very seamless flow. You just raise a request. Now just think about it like this. I can just send a request, and now the request might be sent to a couple of drivers. Let's wait for 5 minutes. No worries. Okay, let's wait for 5 minutes because let's see the status of the DB. Let's go to the query console. Query console. Yeah, this must be 74 now. If you see, the status is assigning driver. Let's wait for some time. Okay. And now I'll accept it. I'll say 1. Okay. If I refresh, you can see now this is scheduled and driver has been assigned. Are you able to get this point? There is one algorithmic issue with this logic as of now. Can anybody spot that? No, we didn't raise the request to store in the drivers in Redis. Redis stores the current location of the drivers. Booking data is not in Redis. Redis is not your permanent storage, Akash. Booking data is in SQL. You have to update the driver who accepted the request in SQL. Redis will only contain the live location data, and based on the live location, it will share the nearby drivers. And then we can raise the request to those nearby drivers. Are you able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat. Okay. Guys, there is one logical issue currently, one very small logical issue, but yeah, there is a logical issue. Can you guys tell me? Kaustubh, yeah, there is one issue that if multiple drivers call it, then we have to stop it. But there is an even more simpler issue. Guys, if a driver is already assigned to a ride, you should not be able to assign it again to another ride, right? That logic you have to add. Can I say that? So while updating a ride, if you come up here, where is update booking? Here, you need to check if driver dot is present and driver dot get dot is available. Then only you should make all of these things. Are you able to get this point? I'll add this as a to do for you guys to maybe try. That you need to add this check. You need to add this check. Can I say that? And once you assign the driver, then also you have to make one more request. You will make a request to driver repository dot update the driver. I'll just comment and add a to do. That you have to update the driver to make it unavailable. Because now they have accepted a request. Now they are unavailable for anything. Are you able to get this point? So these kind of logical checks you have to add. Is this point making sense, guys? Say a yes or no in the chat. Okay, cool. And now if you want to make sure that multiple clients should not be able to call this method, can I say that? Can I say that, guys? There is a very simple way to handle this. Anybody? What will happen if multiple people will call it? This method will be called in multiple threads. Can I say that? So there is a synchronized keyword in Java. Synchronized synchronized Java. Okay. You can see. And let's just see the example of synchronized function Java. Okay. You can read more about it, but the synchronized keyword in Java is a way to ensure that only one thread can access a shared resource at a time. So what you can do is you can mark this method synchronized. Okay. And let's restart this. Okay. Okay. And by the time that restarts, let's restart this one as well. You can see this is up. Let's restart booking service as well. And if you send it again, oh, sorry, we lost the connection, my bad. Let's send it again. Okay, driver ID 1 we are going to add. And you can see everything is good to go, right? And if you don't want to use synchronized keyword, there are other mechanisms as well. For example, you can do manual locking. You can manually create a lock object, have a lock on this method, right? Have a lock on this method so that nobody else can actually call it. Apart from that, there are mechanisms like if you want to make sure that no concurrent request is coming up on this method or wherever you like, for example, you must be able to assign some data here and there. So if you want to use some concurrent data structures, you can use even that. So a lot of different approaches are there. This is one of the most simplest ones. How many of you guys are able to get this point? But FYI, one simple thing that I want to convey is I have added probably a lecture for you guys. I added did I add a SQL? Yeah, this one. Watch this section number 12, guys. This will help you to understand if you want to do, like if you want to handle concurrency on the database level, how can you use isolation levels to handle that? Because this is to make sure that nobody calls this method from the client side. But we need to make sure this thing also is like this one, booking update. Two people should not be able to update the booking with this ID and a driver ID at the same point of time. Can I say that? This line number 97, everyone. This line number 97, this should not be called by multiple people. Can I say that? Okay. So you can again add a synchronized check on this method, but people can also access your database directly, right? So how, like if you have checks, you should also add the check on the logical layer, that is your Java code maybe. And you should be able to add these checks on the corresponding DB level. But what checks you should add? You need to add isolation levels. And there are different isolation levels, right? There are different isolation levels. So on the DB layer, what are these isolation levels? You can actually read about that here. It's a very interesting lecture that I've prepared. Do watch it. Make sense? Like understanding isolation levels is a pretty hard thing. I believe the lectures are making things pretty simple. So do check it out. Got it, everyone? Okay. Now, if you carefully see, just a second. If you carefully see, this socket server is making a communication to our booking service synchronously. Can I say that? It's making call to the booking service synchronously. Yes or no, everyone? Okay. Now you can make a asynchronous request here as well. You could have made a asynchronous request here as well. Now, how can you do that? Remember, we talked about integration of message queues. Remember, we talked about integration of message queues. Okay. So what you can do is you can integrate a message queue and you can add messages to that queue from here and write a consumer inside your booking service for that queue. Now for integrating message queues, there are a lot of mechanisms. You can use RabbitMQ. You can maybe use, let's say, some other queuing service. A lot of queuing services are there, right? But one of the most relevant ones is Kafka. Now you might be thinking that why there is so much hype about Kafka and like what is Kafka, so on and so forth. You can see Kafka is a technology originally prepared from LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn actually developed this. You can say it's a distributed event store. They don't even sell it as kind of like a message broker. It's a distributed event store. Now, how exactly Kafka is different from messaging brokers like RabbitMQ? The first one, in a messaging broker or a normal message queue like RabbitMQ, if you add a message to a queue, right? If you add a message to a queue, then the moment that message is consumed by a consumer, it is removed from the queue. Are you guys able to get this point? So let me show you. So let's say if there is a queue, and this queue is coming from something like RabbitMQ. Okay, this is coming from, let's say, RabbitMQ. In that case, if you add a message to this queue and then somebody consumes that message from the queue, this message is going to be removed from the queue. Are you able to get this point? So they actually provide at most once or exactly once delivery. At most once means maybe there can be a case that nobody is able to read that message, or if somebody is able to read, they will be able to read it once and that's it. But what Kafka provides you at least once delivery. Okay, so what RabbitMQ provides you at most once or exact once delivery. Whereas if you have something like Kafka that is handling all your messages, Kafka on the other hand serves at least once delivery. At least once means you will be able to read the same message from multiple consumers multiple number of times. Are you able to get this point? You can configure that. You can actually configure that. Make sense? This is a lot of when you will ask somebody that, hey, what is the difference between Kafka and RabbitMQ? Most of the people will say that Kafka is very scalable. It has a very high throughput. It is very good for data streaming, a lot of things. But once you use Kafka, you will realize this difference, because this is a, I would say, implementation level difference, that once you use the service, then as a developer, you will realize, oh, this is a very important difference that you will find in Kafka and other messaging services. Are you able to get this point? Other differences are there. Kafka is super scalable. It is very high performant, very high throughput. Kafka gives you a concept of partitioning as well, right? So it again additionally leads to more scalability, right? So because if you are able to partition your data, your load is distributed across brokers, right? Or message brokers. Whereas that's not what RabbitMQ directly is able to provide. Okay. But this difference is very important with respect to your logical implementations. If you want a message to be if you want a situation that, let's say, one microservice adds a message and multiple microservices read it, then Kafka is your way to go for. How many of you guys are able to get this point? How many of you guys are able to get this point? Okay. Otherwise, rest of the differences are there. Kafka is scalable, more scalable than other message brokers and everything altogether. Now, in Kafka, there is a very important concept of topics. In Kafka, there is a very important concept called as topics. Anybody knows what is topics? So you can say topics is kind of very similar to a queue. Whenever you hear the word Kafka topic, a simpler representation of a Kafka topic can be a queue. But you can say it's queue on steroids. Are you able to get this point? So you can say queue is Kafka topic is kind of like a structure or a data structure that Kafka internally implements that actually collects the records sent by the producer. So whatever producer is going to send to Kafka, right, that is actually going to be added in a Kafka topic. And same thing in a RabbitMQ, if your producer adds something, that's added in a queue, right? So you can say topic is a kind of like a queue-like thing, but with the more functionalities altogether. How many of you guys are able to get this point? How many of you guys are able to get this point? Say a yes or no in the chat. And it's the capability of topics that supports multiple subscribers. So Kafka topics helps you to be subscribed by multiple subscribers, and each topic you can partition. That means assume a very powerful queue, but you are able to even partition it. Partition it means you are able to run multiple instances of the same queue. Are able to get this point? So, or you can say you are able to horizontally scale your message queue. That's your Kafka topic. Are you able to get this point, guys? I'm talking with respect to as simpler terms as possible. Now you already know what is a producer. Producer is the one who creates the data in the Kafka topic. Consumer is the one who consumes the data in the Kafka topic. Are you able to get this point? Okay. So if you want to get started, the first important thing is to install Kafka in your machine. Install Kafka, Mac. I don't have it installed in my latest machine. I installed it quite some time back. Let's see if we are able to set it up. This one. And where do we get it from? 1 second. Let's see. You can see under binary downloads, we have to go to binary downloads. Yeah, here. Click on any of the binary downloads. So let's click on this one. Okay. Let's wait for it to download on my machine. It can be a case that sometimes it might show some configuration issue. So I'll at least show you the code base, like how can you integrate. But yeah, let's wait for it. You can see you can download the extract content to a directory of your choice. For example, this, navigate to the root of the Apache Kafka folder, open in terminal. For this example, this is this. Start Zookeeper. Okay. You will also hear this term Zookeeper. Anybody knows what is Zookeeper? You can say it's kind of like a distribution, like you have a lot of partitions of the topics. Then you have a Kafka server that will communicate with this. A lot of things are there. You can say Zookeeper is nothing but a coordination software. In simpler terms, you can understand Zookeeper is nothing but a coordination software. Are you able to get this point? This helps to do like whatever Kafka is able to do, Zookeeper helps in that. Are you able to get this point? So it manages your metadata, such as information about the list of brokers, the list of topics, the list of partitions, right? Because now you will be having partitions, or let's say if you are there might be a leader in the topic, like there will be a leader topic, there will be a slave topic. These kind of things, all these configurations is managed by Zookeeper. Are you able to get this point, everyone? Okay, so it has downloaded it for me. Let's see if we are able to run it on my machine. Kafka, I'll go to my root folder, paste it here. Is it pasted? Is it Kafka? Yeah. Let's expand it out here. Okay. Like you don't need to, like, in order to get started with things, you don't need to like know the whole theory. It's kind of like one particular library or one particular software is dependent on multiple other softwares. You can't go into the whole of like doing a depth first search, right? Yes, Kaustubh, as I mentioned, like it is kind of like a coordination software. Now for that coordination, it can do a lot of things. I'm trying to explain in simple terms, you can say. Okay, cool. Now what do you have to do is, we have to go to this particular folder. Okay, so let's go to this particular folder. So I'll say ls grep Kafka. Okay, yeah. Kafka ls. Okay. And we have a bin, right? So I'll say /bin, or 1 second. Let's take this. Kafka bin Zookeeper server. You can see Zookeeper server start dot sh. Okay. And then you have to take the configuration properties. So /Kafka /config /zookeeper.properties. Let's try to run it and see if it works on my machine. And looks like it is up. Looks like it is up. Then I have to open another terminal. Let's open another window. You can see again, you don't even have to remember it. I'm also checking it from the documentation. You also have to check it from the documentation. So now we have to start. Now Zookeeper is up. I have to start Kafka, bin Kafka server, bin Kafka server start.sh. And then we have to probably send the server configuration properties. Kafka config, server.properties. And you can see Kafka server is up. Are you guys able to get this point? Kafka is now started. Congratulations. Make sense? Everyone, is this point making sense, guys? Okay. Now, before I start integration of Kafka, I'll just quickly add all of my code to GitHub so that we have a checkpoint. Added socket server. Added socket server with capability to accept a write request. Git push origin mail. Okay. And nothing changed in the service discovery, I guess. Get started. Yeah, all good. Nothing changed the location also. Okay, so cool. Now, what we are going to do is, now there is a package. Now there is a package called as Spring Kafka. Spring Kafka. Okay. You can see Spring for Apache Kafka. And if I show you the docs, it's pretty simple to integrate into Apache Kafka with Spring. Okay. First of all, what do you have to do? You have to add the corresponding Spring Kafka library. Okay. Now, you have to configure the corresponding Kafka topics. You have to configure the corresponding Kafka topics. Are you able to get this point? Okay. So previously, you can see, previously we used to run command line tools to create Kafka topics. You can see this is an old way to create the topics. But with the introduction of admin client in Kafka, we can now create topics programmatically. So you can create a topic configuration class. Are you able to get this point? Okay. Now inside this configuration class, this is the part which creates a topic. Rest all of these things are the Kafka configurations altogether. Everyone, is this point making sense? This is the part which creates a topic. So you can say this is kind of like creating your corresponding queue. Okay. Then you have to write a producer. You have to write a producer. Okay. You can see there is a producer factory that you have to actually use. Is everyone able to see this? Okay. You can write a producer like producer config. And then similar to that, you can write a publisher. You can write a publisher. And then you can start sending the messages and you can start consuming the messages. Okay. So let's try to do it. Let's see what we are able to achieve. Okay. It's been quite some time since I've integrated end-to-end Kafka. So let's see. But it should be a simple exercise. But let's see. So we'll go to build.gradle and we should get the corresponding package for Gradle. So it's a Spring Kafka Gradle. Spring Kafka. Make sense? And I'll add it. One second. Why I did not showed me to refresh once again. Da-da. Yeah. Okay, so I'll install the module. Okay. Okay. And let's just quickly check where our Kafka servers are running. Probably it should be on port 9000 something. You can see Kafka server is on port 9092. Can you see? It's a local server is on 9092. Got it? Okay. So what you can do is you can come to your application.yml and you can add Kafka configurations. So you can say Spring. Okay, what happened? Spring. Okay. Oh, we already have Spring here. So let's see. We'll say Kafka. Okay. And then there is a property called as bootstrap servers. You will mention where the server is. So I'll say localhost 9092. Okay. Then, for example, we want to write both the producer and consumer to be in the form of strings. So you have to write what kind of a serialization you need. Again, because what Kafka will expect maybe are the things in the terms of bytes. You will be sending data in some other terms. So you need a serializer, deserializer again here. So you will mention the serializer, deserializer. So I'll say consumer and let's see what configurations they have actually added. Let's see if they are adding. Okay, they're not specifically adding, but okay, we'll still take that. We'll still take that. Let's first of all add for producer. So for producer, if you write key serializer, this can come from org.apache.kafka.serialization.string serializer. Okay. So if you go here, if you go inside your external libraries, and if you go to org.apache.kafka, can you see? So here, org.apache.kafka.common.serialization. Can you see there are a lot of serialization classes written? So one of them is string serializer. String serializer. Can you see? Everyone. So you have to configure that. And in a similar way, you can have the value serializer as well. Value serializer as well. Okay, so this is going to be the string serializer and value serializer. In the consumer, you need a deserializer. So key deserializer. So in the same directory, you have a string deserializer. Okay, and same value deserializer is this. Got it, guys? Everyone? Okay, so you have to set the serializer, deserializer. Basic configuration. You don't have to bang your head. It's you can say it's for data conversion, what Kafka will need. Okay. Now, maybe what we can do is we can come here. We can create a new package, producers. Okay. And I'll create a new Java class. I'll say Kafka producer service. Okay. I'll annotate this class with @service. Okay. Because here we are going to write the producer logic. And for producing, we'll say private final. And there is something called as a Kafka template. This template is kind of like a key value pair that you add. Okay. So the key is also a string. The value is also a string because we had a string serializer only. I'll say Kafka. This is very similar to the key value configuration that you did for Redis also. Then you can say public Kafka producer service. Okay. This will take Kafka template string comma string Kafka template. This dot Kafka template is equals to Kafka template. And then inside this service, you can have a void send, or I would say publish message. Inside this, you are going to get a topic and a message. So you can see the key is the topic and the value is the message. So you can say Kafka template dot send topic comma message. Are you guys able to get this point? So you can see you have to prepare a key value pair inside which key is going to define which topic or which queue you want to send and what message do you want to send. This message can be something else as well. For now, I'm keeping it as a string. Make sense, guys? And similar to that, you can write a consumer also. I'm writing the consumer in the same service for now, but again, you can write a separate one as well. I'll say consumers. Ideally, this consumer should go inside the booking service, but okay, let's first of all do the sample first. I'll say Kafka consumer service. And you can say at the rate, there is an annotation called as Kafka listeners. And here you are going to mention the topics that this listener is going to listen to what all topics. So let's say I'll say a sample topic. I'll create a sample topic and I'll say public void listen. There's a listener method that will create string message. So any message that will come to this particular topic, we are going to read that here. So I'll say s out message. Make sense? And let's see why is this throwing an error. Let's see what all properties does it have. Let's go here. Okay, just have a value. Okay, let's just quickly check the @Kafka listener annotation @Kafka listeners. Kafka listener, you can say topics is equals to this. So we should say topics is equals to, this is throwing an error. Let's see. Topics not found in Kafka listener. Topics. Just saying, let's see why is this throwing an error on the topics property. Okay, I believe. One second. I guess we have to do this step also. This is configuring topics, but there should be a Kafka config also that we might have to prepare once again. So let's say Spring Kafka. There's, I guess, one configuration class also that we have to prepare, but let's see. So, yeah, this is the we can use to create a new topic. Okay. Kafka producer, Kafka consumer. You can see we are writing this producer service. This is good for us. And let's see, there must be writing some consumer service also. Producer service, consumer. Yeah, they should be able to take topics like this. Probably it's not able to take Kafka listen because there is a configuration class that we have to prepare. You can see you have to create a Kafka config class as well. This one. So let's create that. So let's remove it for a moment. And this is also throwing an error. Okay. So let's go to configuration and I'll say new Java class Kafka config. Okay. And let's see what version are they using. They didn't mention the version. They're using 2.7.4. Let's also, maybe we will also use 2.7.4. Okay. 2.7.4 let's use. Kafka config, and you can see there is a enable Kafka annotation that we can use and the normal Spring configuration annotation. Enable Kafka, you can see there's a Kafka annotation. Now, inside this Kafka config, you can see we have to tell that where exactly the server is and the serializer, deserializer. But you can see these details we have already added. These details we have already added. So I don't think we need to add it. I guess just this class should be good. And let's see now. Let's close it. Value, and let's see what is this value type. What's the type of this? What's the value they're expecting? If we do something like, let's say topics, just a second, guys. Serializer, deserializer we have added. Okay. I guess there is one more thing that you have to add. You can see here they have added two more properties. Apart from the basic configuration of ours, you can see here, one second, where's the consumer service? Consumer, controller, producer service. You can see this is a consumer example. Once again, have they written consumer service? Yeah, this is the consumer service, and they say group ID. Can you see there's a group ID property that's also there? So let's do one thing. Can we give the group ID? Yep, we can probably give the group ID here, and we can just mention any group. Okay, let's mention any group like sample group. Okay, and there's one more property. I'll add it in the configuration, and let's see. At the rate Kafka listeners. At the rate Kafka listeners. At the rate Kafka listeners annotation. Value property. Maybe they have changed it with the value property. I'll just quickly check. What is this new value? Let's check the official docs. Let's check the official docs. You can see they have changed it like this. You can write Kafka listeners. Okay. So that means we are using Kafka listeners. This should be at the rate. There should be a Kafka listener also. Yeah, this is the one that everybody is referring. You can see they have a very confusing one. You can see listener. Okay, we have to give a singular one. Okay, because you can have multiple lists. Okay, this is again to that multi-subscriber model. This like one topic can be read by multiple listeners, right? So that's the thing. So here you can give the topics. Can you see? Here you can give the topics. So let's say, for example, the topic is going to be a sample topic. The topic is going to be a sample topic. Are you able to get this point, everyone? Okay. And once we receive that topic, what we ping is, we'll say Kafka message from topic sample topic plus this message. Make sense? This is the thing that we are going to log. Are you able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat, guys. Okay. Now, if you remember, they say that now you do not need to create Kafka topics manually through command line. You can create Kafka topics like this. So let's come to the Kafka config. And here we can define our first topic. So I'll say at the rate, my bad, bean. Okay. I'll say public new topic. Can you see Kafka gives you a new topic object? and I'll say sample topic, and I will return a new topic object, new topic object, and the name of the topic is sample topic. Okay, and if you see this constructor new topic, can you see? First of all, you have to give the number of partition and the replication factor. So for now, I'll give the number of partitions as 1 and replication factor as 1 as well. And I guess this should be a short. Okay, so this is just a configuration, like how many partitions of the topic do you want, how frequently you want to replicate it, and whenever you replicate it, and so on. So this is what you give in the configuration. Are you guys able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat. Now, here you have to give more beans. Here you have to give more beans. Now, if you will look for example, the Kafka template, you have to also tell how the Kafka template should be created. So I'll say Kafka template of type string, comma string. At any point of time, if somebody looks for Kafka template, how this should be created. So you can say return new Kafka template. And here we have to give a producer factory. Like this Kafka template, if you remember, we are using in the producer. Remember, we are using in the producer to send the message or produce the message. So here we have to create a producer factory. Probably they might have also created it. They have not created it. They have written a separate configuration. Can you see? I will write it in the same file, but you can see there is a producer factory that they have created. And then how the Kafka template should be created is actually mentioned in the producer factory. So we have to add these details. Are you able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat. So I'll maybe take all of this. I'll take all of this bean from here. Producer factory. And I'll add the map, hash map. Okay. And we'll say bootstrap server config. Where is the server running? Our server is running on localhost 9092. This is the string serializer class that it needs. And this is the default factory. So here we will say producer factory object. Are you able to get this point, guys? It's a simple configuration. It's a one-time configuration that you have to do in order to make sure your Kafka template is able to start creating some objects. That's it. Okay. And similar to this, you have to probably do you can see you have to do a consumer factory as well. You have to create a consumer listener and a consumer factory as well. So I'll again copy all of this and paste it here. So let's create a consumer factory. And let's say address is on localhost 9092. Okay. And the group ID, we can take it from here. Sample group, let's say. Okay. String deserializer, because consumers are going to deserialize your data. And this is okay. So you can see a consumer factory I have also written. Make sense? Okay. Now let's do one thing. I will go to my controllers. Right. And you can see there is a get request / help, right? So let's use this. What we are going to do is we are going to get our producer service. So private final Kafka producer service, and Kafka producer service. This dot Kafka producer service is equals to Kafka producer service. And here, the moment anybody will make a get request on this API, what we will do is, I will say Kafka producer service dot publish message on sample topic. And let's say the message that we want to publish is hello. That's it. Okay. Let's restart this server and see if there is any errors or anything coming up when configuring Kafka. You need to make sure your Kafka server and Zookeeper is up. Okay, this failed. Let's see why. Okay, some bean creation actually failed. Oh, let us see. It might be because, have I given bean everywhere? Yep, I have given the bean everywhere. It didn't find a class. Once again, let's see with any configuration we are missing. So we did this listener configuration. And do we have enable Kafka? One second. Do we have enable Kafka? Yes, we have enable Kafka. We have producer as well. We have hard code the address, but later we can pick it from here. Okay, let's see what is the error coming up. And let's do one thing. I guess I went back to the old version, right? Let's get the latest version only. Okay. Why it's not showing the Gradle refresh? One second. Da-da-da. /Gradle w. Clean. Sorry. Gradle w. Clean. Okay. Let's rebuild our server. Yeah, it was a version issue. It was a version issue. In the latest version, we do have it. Okay, let's try it out. Let's try it out. Let's go to Postman. We have a /API. Yeah, this is yesterday's testing, localhost. This is 3002. And what's the API? /API /socket. That's it. It's a GET request. Let's send it. We are getting a true back. And if you see, we are able to read the message. Hello. Are you able to get this point? So Kafka consumer is working. Where was our consumer? This is our consumer. Producer, consumer. Kafka message topic, sample topic. Are you able to get this point? You can see the end-to-end Kafka integration is working, and you can see it's a pretty simple configuration. This configuration file you can just take up without much of a hiccup. You can see these localhost 9092. You can take it up from your environment variables and everything. And all you have to write a consumer service and a producer service. This producer service is going to create, write a message to a topic. This is going to read a message from the topic that you are going to give here. Make sense? So let's do one thing. Let's go to our booking service. Let's go to the booking service. Maybe add Kafka here as well. And this time, let's make sure that we have a consumer written inside booking service also. Okay. So I'll take this. And most of the things are now going to be copy paste because we already have the configuration with us. Refresh. It shows it, like you can see, even if the server, you can see Akash, the server was up this time, but it actually showed me, but okay. And I'll copy this class. Let's copy the config class. Copy. And okay, we don't have any configuration. Let's make the first configuration. New package. How many of you guys are able to get this point? Like, and just FYI, this is not just for Kafka. If you want to integrate RabbitMQ, you have to write a same producer consumer. I'll show you one example with Redis queue that I have written in Node. So let's first of all try to run it here. Okay, Kafka config looks good. And let's take the whole consumer folder, copy, paste, consumers. Okay, Kafka message from topic inside booking service. Let's turn up the booking service. I guess my socket server is already up. Okay. And now what we can actually do is, now let's hit the API again. Send it, true. And now can you see? We are inside my booking service. Can you see? This is the booking service. Inside booking service, we have a consumer. And let's see. Okay, this time it didn't read it from here. Kafka listeners, sample topic. One second. Producer service. We produced the message. Let's try it once more. 2 times. And okay, I guess we have to give the configuration. Let's see. Config for new topic to be able to read by multiple consumers. Kafka Spring. Okay. Kafka topic. Okay, no. So this is adding same listener on multiple topics. I want multiple listeners on same topic. Kafka Spring. Okay. Okay, I guess I know the issue. 1 second. So if I go here, I guess I know the issue probably. Okay, you can see I added the Kafka configuration here inside the socket server. I didn't add it there. So let's copy this. Let's add it in the booking service also. Paste it here. I'll call it as sample group 2. Okay. Let's close this. And inside the config, we need to mention, I guess, a new, so you can say sample group 2. I guess if you are already giving it in the classes, you don't need to give it in the application.yml. That's why it worked previously as well. 1 second, let's restart. I guess if you are already giving it in the configuration here, you don't need to separately mention it here. Okay. But okay, no problem. Okay, why is this like this? Let's restart the server. And let's see. Okay, sample group 2 looks good. Send. So Kafka message being read here and here. So you can see why it was not being read, because now if you want to have multiple listeners, you need to mention them as a different group. So every listener will belong to a group. Okay. And 2 listeners from 2 different groups can read the same topic. And now, in fact, just FYI, you can see I'm inside socket server. I'll go to my consumer service. I write one more consumer of the same topic. You can see, okay, I have to write one more class. Let's say I'll copy this class only, copy, and then paste. service one, service one. Okay. And this time I'll say Kafka consumer new message. Okay. I'll have a different one. Now, if you restart the server, okay, let me show you. If you read, you can see I'm listening to the same topic, sample topic. Okay. And if I send this here, can you see? I have not mentioned the group. So the second listener is not working. But here and here, both of the places, the first listener is working. So you can say group ID as sample group 3. Okay. Probably in the same service you can't. You have to write it in another service, but let's try. But what you can do is you can have one more service inside which you can have a sample group 3. You can mention any group ID. You can have your company name and your team name as a group ID as well. Okay. But you can see sample group 3 as well as registered. If now you send it, now can you see your listener number 2, listener number 1, and your booking service listener, everybody is listening to that message. How many of you guys are able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat. Everyone, guys, is this point making sense? So now you can see the user, this postman is our user. Where did we mention topic name while producing? Omkar, if you go to the producer service, sorry, not producer service, Kafka config, this one. Okay. And if you go to the producer, you send the topic from here. Got it? And which topic do you want to listen to? You're mentioning here. I've never tried it, Akash. Let's try. I don't have a problem. Let's try it out. Like it's a simple thing. Let's try it out. Let's say I gave it a sample group 2. Same as the Uber booking service. Let's try it out. It should read. Okay, no, it's not reading. So you need to have a unique group only. But you can see it's reading here. In Uber booking service, it's reading. You need to have a unique group, as far as I can see. But you can Google that. You can Google that. Anybody having any questions? Now there is a homework for you guys. Like try it out. Currently, we are sending string topic, right? We are sending a string topic, and you can see I'm publishing this message in the string topic, and the value also is a string. How about if you want to set a custom object as a value? How about that? Are you able to get this point? If you want to have a custom object as a value, like maybe a DTO, I can give you some hints. Just like how we have string serializer, you need to have maybe a custom object serializer, sending custom object in Kafka Spring. Okay. Da-da-da. Say there's a book class and mention the topic. And let's see. And if you see here, string serializer, config hash map, and get book name. You can see there is this whole book class. There is this whole book class. Inside the config, you have the same string serializer. And you have a Kafka template dot send topic book. You can see you are receiving a book object in the request body. And they have not shown the consumer. One second. This is where they have created the topic. They didn't show the consumer. I hate GFG. This one, custom serializers in Apache Kafka. So you probably need to write a custom serializer like this. So try it out, or you can send JSON in Kafka Spring. Okay, JSON in Kafka Spring. And you can see this is the consumer part they have separately written. So inside the consumer, you can see this is the consumer factory. And can you see there is a JSON serializer. So if you don't want to write your own custom serializer, you can write a JSON serializer. Okay. And you can read it from here. Got it? So try to send custom objects. But now can you see? What I can very easily do now is whenever a ride is accepted, can you see I'm making an API call here? Don't you think what I can do is I can just publish a message here? What do you guys think? I can just publish a message here. How many of you guys think that we can publish a message here? And we have a consumer written inside booking service. So you are now, it's not a synchronous request, right? Whenever booking service consumer is available, that consumer can read from the queue. How many of you guys are able to get this point? Now this will be an asynchronous request. Let me show you. So we have, let's turn up the server. Okay. Can you see this is how your APIs can actually make asynchronous requests within each other. WebSocket is of course one way, right? You can also communicate through WebSocket, but if I refresh and create booking, send it. Do you accept? Yes, I accept. One. The moment I click on, and before I click on OK, this is the booking service logs. I click on OK. And can you see I'm able to read a message from Kafka? Because the moment you clicked on OK, we assigned the driver from the socket server and we produced a message. The moment you produced a message, and if the booking service is available, it can actually also consume it. How many of you guys are able to get this point? Say a yes or no in the chat. This is your asynchronous communication altogether. And if you don't want to integrate Kafka, you can just check for Spring, RabbitMQ, a similar implementation you will get. Okay, let's go to maybe, let's see this. Okay. If you carefully see, you have to configure RabbitMQ here and there. You have to write a publisher, rabbit template.convert and send. You can see. And then you have to write a consumer also. This creates, you have to write the queue configuration, just like how you wrote the topic configuration, you have to write the queue configuration. And then you can write a rabbit listener instead of Kafka listener. Can you see it's a very simple API and similar to what we have done there? Are you able to get this point? Yes, there are other solutions as well. You can use anything that you want, Omkar. It depends. But Kafka, again, people say it's scalable. Multiple consumers can read from a topic. A lot of details are there. Are you able to get this point? Anybody having any questions around asynchronous communication? And guys, just FYI, somebody was talking about this on the group, so I wanted to mention it. Can you see these Java servers? Doesn't matter even if you would have written them in Node.js, you are doing either a communication through an API call or WebSocket or some message queues. It doesn't matter how you have written, in what technology you have written them. For example, you can have your Node.js server register node server to Eureka server. You can again add that to the Eureka service, Eureka service discovery. Okay, let me show you. You can see there is a package Eureka JS client, because if you remember, we have one Eureka service server. Rest of the microservices are what? Eureka clients, right? Okay, so you can write a Eureka JS client. You have to configure how exactly and where exactly you have to connect to Eureka, and that's it. Your own node server will also be connected to Eureka. You can read about it here. So can you see, we saw all the inter-service communication mechanisms. We saw synchronous mechanism, asynchronous mechanisms, both. Are you able to get this point? No problem, Somnath. Okay. So guys, just wanted to talk about a couple of things. Now we are left with the deployment part. Deployment part I generally do not take live, because 99% once you deploy anything, it's gonna fail. It takes a lot of time. So generally it's very good to have sequential steps for deployment. But if you carefully see, most of the things like that, like some people were asking that there are a few things that is remaining. For example, like when I was making the course, there was a separate section that I added for entities, DAO, UUID, and everything. We have talked about all of this already. So I'll rearrange these things. But most of the things that I wanted to cover live is done. Deployment, and there are a few additional things that I want to add that will come up in the upcoming weeks as the recorded part, right? Where we are going to deploy this whole project. You can see there are 5-7 microservices, pretty complex. We are going to do the deployment on AWS, right? And I also want to give you guys time to consume all of this, because you can see a lot of things we have done, starting from REST APIs, sockets, now messaging queues, multiple microservices. We have a library which is having all of our entities. We have Redis integrated. We have location-based APIs going on here and there. A lot of things are happening. So you have a lot of things to consume as well, right? And whatever is the, like, again, deployment and one or two remaining part, it's like around one thing around Spring internals. I like specifically wanted to cover those things. I'll add separately in the recorded part. But most of the things that I wanted to do with this particular project is done. There is one small thing that is pending from my side. I will add detailed requirement documentation for the wallet project. Remember, we talked about the fact that one project we will do in class, one project you guys have to manually end-to-end do as well. So that wallet project detailed requirement I'm going to add. So I will push that on the group. Don't worry. We'll be having the communications on. Don't worry on that particular part. But yeah, before that, before I start taking up questions, anybody having anything to add up here? I'll add the Kafka config, added Kafka. Did you guys like enjoyed the overall project, the complexity of the project, so many microservices? And in the last 3-4 classes, we communicated everything each other so gracefully. Like, did you guys enjoyed this part? And like, were you guys able to learn something new around Spring Boot, the overall backend development part? How is it like? Yes, Akash, like somehow Akash is saying for asynchronous communication, we don't need to have API calls. Yes. For example, the API call that I prepared, this is the client. From client, I triggered some request. Now, if two services have to communicate, you can just add up a message in a message queue and somebody else will actually consume it. That's it. This is also communication, but asynchronously. Why? Because nobody is waiting here. If you carefully see, one second. If you carefully see this response entity, this REST template.post for entity, it's a synchronous request. But this is not synchronous. Can I say that? You published a message and that's it. Whenever they want to read, they will read. Although we did one more kind of like an asynchronous consumption of API request when we were writing this. This was also pretty graceful. When we were writing our retrofit asynchronous consumers. Yeah. So we did a lot of we saw a lot of mechanism altogether, right? Yes, Somnath, just give me a minute. I'll just unmute you in a moment. But anybody having anything, if you guys want to share any feedback or something very specific. Okay. So you have a lot of things to build up on this one as well. For example, you can add the logical part that the driver should not be already assigned if they want to, if they are already assigned. You can maybe, if you are too much into front end, I would highly recommend you guys to maybe use React to prepare the front end. There was one library. Let me, 1 second. There is a React library for maps. 1 second. Yeah, React Leaflet. React Leaflet. There is something called React Leaflet. You can use maybe React Leaflet to maybe add some maps UI or something if you want. So like kind of like this, not the most beautiful map, but still gets the job done. Also, one more thing that I will add one document inside your course in which I will add 3 or 4 ways in which you can define the whole project in your resume. Although nowadays you have ChatGPT, so nothing is like beyond your reach, to be very honest, nowadays. Okay, so you can go to ChatGPT. You can see I have the 4.0 version. I'm not sure if you guys got the access. So you can tell I have a Spring Boot microservice project. You can tell everything about the project. Let's do that activity now and here only, which has the following microservices. First, location service. It connects to a Redis server and update live driver location, and also fetches nearby driver to a coordinate. Okay. Second, there is an entity service. This stores all the models used across microservices. Third, and in case you have added, like I gave you guys a homework also that I added Redis, your homework was to add MongoDB. So maybe if you have added, I'll add that line also. Also, instead of Redis, clients can use MongoDB for storing live location and fetching nearby drivers. Right. In case you have added that, you can add that thing here across microservices. Third is a booking service. Manages everything regarding ride booking. Then you have a socket service. Uses stomp based sockets to communicate to clients and microservices. Then we have a review service. Manages review CRUD. 6. What else? We have a Eureka service discovery. Additional features. Kafka for async service com. Then retrofit for async API calls. What else? Proper DTO structures, DTO and repository structures. Spring Boot, Spring Boot, Spring Data JPA, Spring Socket, Spring Redis, Spring Kafka, scheduler, etc. used. And okay, let's once again. And then can I edit it? Yeah. Okay. Now Now, give me 4 points that I can write in my resume to showcase the complexity of the project. Okay. Spring Boot microservice, Uber project. Okay. Send. Oh, we have DB migrations as well. 1 second. Stop. We have DB migrations as well. 5 DB migrations using Flyway. Okay. What else? What else do we have? Mhm. Seven. Auth service. JWT token based auth. Okay. What else? Using Spring Security. Pretty. And what else? Da-da-da. Like you have to mention the most major parts. Okay, and you can add more. You can add more cascading and everything, but okay, let's end it. Okay, let's see what GPT writes. Memory updated. Designed and implemented a robust microservice architecture for a Uber-like application, leveraging Spring Boot for various Spring ecosystem, ensuring scalable, maintainable, and high-performing services. Developed a location service utilizing Redis and MongoDB for real-time driver location updates and retrieval of nearby drivers, ensuring efficient and low-latency data handling. Integrated Apache Kafka for asynchronous communication between microservices, enhancing scalability and fault tolerance, and utilized Retrofit for async API calls, improving inter-service communication. Implemented this. Add more details, and it will keep on adding details. Are you able to get this point? So you can use tools, just define everything. I have also given a very vague idea to it. You can define things in more detail, and it will tell you what all things your project can actually do. There are not many numerical figures in the description. Akash, personal projects do not have numerical description. I can show you. Yeah, I can. Don't worry. Don't worry about the prompt. I'll get some very detailed answers from ChatGPT and just paste your answers also. Don't worry. Somnath. Akash, let me show you my resume. Okay. Do I have my resume? 1 second. Resume. Last I checked my resume. Sanket resume. Yep. 1 second. Let me make sure my number is not lead, although it's already lead, but okay. Yeah. Just a second, guys. So okay, let me share my screen. So if you see the resume, if you see my resume, can you see in the personal project part, you will not find, although I have to not even have added a lot of things. When you actually work on a particular project while working as an intern or a full-time person, for example, you can see, like, just to give you context, there were some broken QRs that were published by GPay and SBI and Yes Bank, which were failing merchant QR payments, right? And these were like 40,000 QRs that used to fail a lot of requests. I worked on a feature that, like, in one way was to get those QR back, but 40,000 QR is a good number. You can't go to every village and get those QR back. So I wrote a feature that actually helped us to resolve this broken 40,000 QRs directly from the software. Now, this is the number that you add. Are you able to get this point? This is a number that you can add. Then there was a business decline that I was a part of, a project that I was part of. So we reduced the business decline from 8% to 5.9%, which impacted 30 million transactions. Now, I actually worked on 30 million transactions, like on a scale of 30 million transactions. So that's why, that's how we have a number. So at least as of my knowledge, your personal project do not hold your numbers. I can show you one more example. So there is one of my very good friend, Arnav. If I show you Arnav Gupta resume. he has also added some personal projects. You can see projects. He has made a couple of libraries here and there. View library, a PUBG AR project, Android touch gesture library. Can you see? The only numbers is around the downloads because these are apps. What you can do is you can have a project that you can publish and then you can write about the traffic. That's the only thing that you'll be able to write as of my knowledge. Or if you have an app, then you can tell the downloads. You can see this project. So Arnav made this project in a hackathon. Now this project has no user, so no metric altogether. You can just link the project. Just make sure you link the whole project altogether. Are you able to get this point? So they made it when we all were working with coding blocks. I was not part of this project. FYI, they went to a hackathon and then just made it. So you can see a good representation they actually did. Are you able to get this point? So this is like my point of view. So personal projects, you can mention the complexity. And then once you make it end to end, like now we have a Uber project. Now in order to launch it, probably you have to make a mobile app and then launch it. Then you will get numbers. Are you able to get this point? If you want numbers, remember the class that Ria took for unit testing? You can write unit test and make the coverage go beyond 70%. Although that will take a lot of effort from your side, but that can be one number that I can think of. And Ria also took a lecture on, like I added a lecture from Ria on Postman where she showed load testing. You can add some load testing metric here and there. That's also one thing that you can add. So you have to think about innovative ways in which you can add. But otherwise, like in personal projects, because you can see at like, so I'm working with a couple of edtechs as well. When they talk about projects, most of the people like talk about projects in terms of CRUD. Food delivery app. They will sell that you are going to make a food delivery app. But every food delivery app is an e-commerce app only. So you make an e-commerce app. An e-commerce app is a CRUD. Are you able to get this point? So either you can make a simple CRUD and very easily just make an app out of it, or notepad, just create a notepad app and just publish it on Android store and get some 100 download, 2000 download something. Or you can make a complex project where you learn about a couple of things. Here you can see we learned about that. What is Kafka? What is Kafka topic? How Kafka topic is different than normal queues. Then you saw how socket, like you will find most of the people working on sockets through socket.io and a JS library. We worked on socket through Spring Boot. We saw socket communication being so seamless, right? You have a Redis connection for location-based data. How many of you guys watched this particular lecture? I added a lecture here. This one. No, not this one. This one, handling geospatial data. How many of you guys watched this lecture? Lecture number 41. Watch it. I have talked about the internals of geospatial data here. That how exactly internally geospatial data works. Like how it divides everything in a couple of squares. Then there are nested squares here and there. How do you handle if the pointers are spread across multiple squares, all of this. I mentioned that in the group. I'm not sure how many of you guys have watched that. So I believe you guys have a lot of backlog also to cover. To be very honest, you guys have a lot of backlog to cover as well. Make sense? Everyone? There's a humongous amount of backlog. So don't worry. The remaining part, for example, I want to add this part. Async communication, so we did. This is, you can see cascade we did, fetch modes we did, raw hibernate queries and everything we did, DAO and everything we did, mocking and like testing you have done. Deployment I have to add. I will talk about idempotent, like a few things here. You can see scheduled, scheduled annotation we worked with. I'll talk about crons, right? In probably I'll add 2 lectures on these additional topics, right? One lecture I will add on how to integrate Elasticsearch. Just FYI, just how you integrated Kafka. In a similar way, you will integrate Elasticsearch. There will be a service, there will be an Elasticsearch config, and that's it. Okay, so these are the additional things. Like when I thought of, like initially, if you remember in the first class, we talked about the fact that you'll make an e-commerce app, right? And a wallet app that we will make yourself. So in an e-commerce app, Elasticsearch made more sense. But then I thought just for showing Elasticsearch, e-commerce is not very complex. Then we shifted to the Uber project, and then these location-based data and everything came up. When you must have enrolled in the course, location based data access and everything was not there, because I at the runtime thought it. But I'll still just add Elasticsearch, and I'll show you how to integrate Elasticsearch. Okay, so you can see a couple of topics here and there that are more related to like general integrations or deployment is there. So I'll, like, in the next couple of 2.5 weeks, I'll keep on adding the lectures here. But the live lecture part, that whatever I wanted to cover in this project while learning Spring, while covering the whole project, is done from my side. You guys can keep on asking questions, no problem there. I can see a couple of people, including Parth and everyone, are very active and helping others as well, although they also missed some lectures in between, but okay. But yeah, any thoughts, anything that you want to add up? And if I guess Somnath wanted to come on call as well. Somnath, feel free to come and join us. Deployment cost, like for testing, there is a free tier. You just need a credit card to try deployment, Akash. For testing, there is a free tier. To register, you need a credit card, but they will not charge you until unless you use too much. Yes, Garvit, I'll upload recorded because I want to upload very crisp steps. वरना class में कुछ ना कुछ फटेगा. Deployments are meant to. Don't worry. I'll add some crisp. Okay. Hi Somnath. Yeah, please tell me.
Hi sir. सर एक्चुअली एक प्रॉब्लम हुआ कि मैं 1.5 ईयर से जिस करंट कंपनी में था तो लोग मतलब विदाउट प्रोजेक्ट में था, लेकिन मेरा सिलेक्शन बेसिस जावा में हुआ था, तो अभी ले ऑफ कर दिया उन लोग। तो मैं पूछ रहा था कि जो प्रोजेक्ट अभी हम लोग बना रहे हैं इसमें अगर हम पूरा एंड टू एंड तो अभी पॉसिबल नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरे को जॉब के लिए अप्लाई करना है। तो अगर मैं
इसका अब जब हम डिप्लॉय करेंगे ना,
हाँ
तो
हाँ
में आई विल शो यू द एंड टू एंड की, मतलब अब again it's का end to end मतलब what you are talking about front end, if you are talking about front
no means मैंने फुल बैकएंड में मेरे को ये पूछना है कि अगर मान लीजिए मैं 2 सर्विसेज बना लेता हूँ जैसे एंटिटी और लोकेशन, ठीक है, तो उसको मैं रिव्यू मतलब रिज्यूम में ऐड कर सकता हूँ क्या ओनली सर्विसेज, या फिर सब 7-8 सर्विसेज बनाने के बाद ही प्रोजेक्ट को मेंशन किया जाता है?
देखो मैं तुम्हें मतलब
मेरे को सर एक एक्सपीरियंस शो करना होगा। हाँ
देखो अभी जैसे हमारे पास हमारा पूरा फ्लो ना अब जाके कनेक्ट हो गया है। अब हमारी क्या है, बुकिंग सर्विस है, बुकिंग सर्विस कॉल करो, वो लोकेशन सर्विस कॉल करती है, लोकेशन सर्विस से डेटा आता है, फिर वो सॉकेट सर्वर कॉल करता है, सॉकेट सर्वर फ्रंट एंड को कॉल करता है, फ्रंट एंड से डेटा वापस सॉकेट पे आता है, सॉकेट सर्वर वापस बुकिंग पे लेके जाता है। प्रीटी कॉम्प्लेक्स कम्युनिकेशन, राइट। तो देखो आइडियल केस में तुम्हारा मोटिव पहला होना चाहिए लर्निंग। लर्निंग तुम्हारी तब होगी जब तुम सारी सर्विसेज बनाओगे, ठीक है। और इन सारी सर्विसेज में इंटरनली वो एंटिटी सर्विस तो चल ही रही है। अब एक बारी बुकिंग हो गई, जब बुकिंग को तुम अब एक एपीआई ऐड कर सकते हो तुम, जिसमें तुम बुकिंग को कंप्लीट मार्क करोगे। अब जैसे राइड हो गई, अब बुकिंग को गाइस एवरीवन तुम भी बताओ, बाकी लोग भी बताएंगे। अब जैसे राइड कंप्लीट हो गई तो राइडर ने कहा राइड कंप्लीटेड, राइड कंप्लीटेड इज अ CRUD एपीआई, कैन आई से दैट गाइस? क्योंकि उसमें तुम्हें बुकिंग का स्टेटस क्या मार्क करना है, कंप्लीटेड। यस और नो एवरीवन?
यस।
तो राइड कंप्लीट होने के बाद तुम रिव्यू सर्विस को हिट कर सकते हो ताकि वो एक रिव्यू क्रिएट दे, है ना। सिंपल, दैट्स अ सिंपल थिंग। वो मतलब क्लास में कराना इज एन ओवरकिल, ठीक है। उसमें तुम्हें कोई लर्निंग नहीं हो, क्योंकि याद है CRUD सर्विस तो हम ऑलरेडी बहुत बार बना चुके हैं। टू डू में बनाई थी, फिर उसके बाद तुमने CRUD सर्विस बनाई है, रिव्यू में पूरा CRUD बनाया है, ये बुकिंग भी बेसिक तो CRUD ही है, तो इट्स अ CRUD। तो तुम ऐसी और चीजें खुद से ऐड कर सकते हो, ये तुम्हारी लर्निंग में हेल्प करेगा, ठीक है। क्योंकि जब तुम कंपनी में भी काम करोगे ना, कंपनी में भी ऐसा ही होगा, 5-6 सर्विसेज से इधर से उधर डेटा आ रहा होगा, यू हैव टू मैनेज इट। अब बात रही रिज्यूमे में दिखाने की, तो देखो व्हाट आई विल से, तुम 2 से 3 मेजर सर्विसेज तो इनिशियल बना लो, जैसे एंटिटी सर्विस बना ली, बुकिंग सर्विस बना ली, लोकेशन सर्विस बना ली, और उसको
मतलब मेजर सर्विस और एंटिटी, लोकेशन और बुकिंग 3 मेजर है।
3 मेजर है, वैसे तो सॉकेट सर्विस भी मेजर है, ठीक है। और फिर मतलब तुम 2 ही बना लो या 3 बना लो और रिज्यूमे में तो मेंशन कर लो, एंड देन कीप ऑन वर्किंग ऑन इट। क्योंकि देखो कोई भी तुम्हारा रिज्यूमे खोलेगा ना, वो तुम्हारे गिटहब पे जाएगा। अगर तुम्हारे गिटहब पे वो प्रोजेक्ट ही नहीं होगा तो फिर उनको लगेगा भाई तुमने नहीं बनाया है,
जी सर,
है ना। ये वाली चीज।
और एक चीज है,
मान लो किसी ने
रिज्यूम
नहीं भी चेक करा, किसी ने मान लो नहीं भी चेक करा,
जी सर,
तुमसे क्वेश्चंस पूछे, तो अगर तुमने ना, जैसे अब तुम देखते हो ना, अब मैं कितनी छोटी सी गलती करता था, 3002 की जगह 8080 लिखता था। अब ये सब चीजें ना तभी होंगी जब तुम खुद से कोड करोगे, देखो मैं भी
जी सर।
कोड लिखता हूँ, मुझे भी आती गलतियां। बाकी भी जो लोग कोड अपने से कर रहे होंगे ना, उनको रियलाइज हो रहा होगा कि भाई ये चीज तभी पता लगती है जब तुम कोड खुद से करोगे। ठीक है, तो वो लर्निंग वाला पार्ट ना फिर वो इंटरव्यू में दिखेगा कि तुमने भाई ये प्रोजेक्ट ना खुद से बनाया नहीं है। ठीक है,
जी सर।
मतलब सीखा
हम्म।
है, कहीं से देखा है, बट अभी ना खुद
हम्म।
से नहीं करा है ट्राई। अब जैसे जियो लोकेशन वाला है, तुम जैसे ही लिख दोगे ना कि भाई
हम्म।
तुमने जियो लोकेशन बेस्ड डेटा पे काम किया है, तो जो मैं लेक्चर नंबर 41 दिखा रहा था, उस पे से क्वेश्चंस आएंगे कि भाई अभी इंटरनली ये डेटा कैसे चलता है, जियो लोकेशन डेटा कैसे होता है, कैसे नहीं चलता है। तो अगर तुमने वो लेक्चर नहीं देखा होगा तो तुम्हें फिर उस
हाँ,
आंसर
इंटरव्यू
को
में
क्वेश्चन
प्रॉब्लम
करने में
होगा।
दिक्कत होगी, है ना।
जी सर।
तो
नहीं
ये
सर,
वाली चीज।
एक्चुअली मेनली इसलिए मैं पूछा क्योंकि अभी तो मतलब कंडीशन मेरा ऐसा है कि मतलब रिज्यूम में से दो मेन सर्विस करके रिज्यूम में मतलब अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा कहीं ना कहीं। थोड़ा ले
हाँ
ऑफ
क्योंकि
हो गया तो सर
नहीं
वही
तो तुम्हारा फिर
दिक्कत है
बैकलॉग
सर।
चल रहा है ना, क्योंकि तुमने बाकी सर्विसेज अभी बनाई नहीं।
हाँ।
हाँ, तो हमने अपनी तरफ से एंड टू एंड बना लिया, क्योंकि तुम देखो बुकिंग्स क्रिएट हो रही हैं, सब कुछ हो रहा है, सारी इंटर
हम्म।
सर्विस कम्युनिकेशंस हो रही हैं, सब कुछ इंटीग्रेट करा है, रेडिस काफका वगैरह सब इंटीग्रेट हो गया
जी
है ना।
सर।
अब यहाँ से तो
हम्म।
तुम इसको उबर बना लो, ओला बना लो, कुछ भी बना लो, मेन तुम्हारा वो होता है कि लाइक द मेन एंटिटीज। और अच्छा, अब एक और चीज होती है प्रोजेक्ट डेवलपमेंट में, जो डेटाबेस वाला पार्ट होता है, कि भाई मतलब डेटाबेस को कैसे प्रॉपरली स्ट्रक्चर किया जाए। ठीक है, तो
हाँ।
वो वाली चीज तब तुमने सीखा। अब जब तक तुम वो एंटिटी सर्विस बनाओगे नहीं ना, जब तक तुम वो सारी
हम्म।
क्लासेस नहीं बनाओगे, तो तब तक तुम्हें रियलाइज नहीं होगा कि यार डेटा को कैसे इंटीग्रेट किया जाए, कैसे ना इंटीग्रेट किया जाए, कैसे
जी
डेटाबेस
सर।
में कौन सी टेबल रखें, कौन सी टेबल ना रखें, दैट थिंग। अब जैसे
अच्छा।
रिया ने टेस्टिंग सिखाई थी।
हम्म।
अब अगर अब टेस्टिंग ना जैसे जनरली इंटरव्यू में नहीं पूछते, तो तुम टेस्टिंग वाला पार्ट अभी स्किप भी कर सकते हो, क्योंकि टेस्टिंग डेव स्किल है। जब तुम डेवलपर लग जाओगे, उसमें तुम्हारा स्किल काम आएगा। बात समझ में आ रही है।
जी सर। और
हाँ,
सर इसमें रिज्यूम में मतलब उबेर तो मेंशन नहीं करेंगे, ऑनलाइन कैब बुकिंग कर सकते हैं ना?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। मैं तुम
ऐसा कर सकते हैं।
मैं तुम्हें मैंने अभी रिज्यूम में दिखाया तो था, रुको फिर से दिखा देता
जी।
हूँ। मतलब मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा, मतलब मेरे को ना ऐसे एक दो कमेंट भी आए थे कि क्लोन प्रोजेक्ट तो क्या होता है।
जी हाँ।
ये मेरा रिज्यूम है भाई।
मतलब उबर लिख देंगे तो मे भी उन
देख
लोग
रहे हो क्या
और
लिखा हुआ
कुछ
है,
ये कुछ।
क्या है ये भाई, मैंने तो
अच्छा।
डिफाइन तक नहीं करके
आई।
प्रोजेक्ट। ठीक है, मल्टी
जी
एक
सर,
ये
आप बस
मल्टी नोट क्या है। मैं अब तो क्लास में तुम्हें
हेडिंग
ऊबर,
दे दिए।
ये टू डू ऐप है ये।
अच्छा अच्छा।
ये टू डू ऐप है, और मैं
हम्म।
अपने प्रोजेक्ट तो अब अपडेट भी नहीं करता, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट। मैं तुम्हें देखो ऊबर सर्विस करा दे, तुम्हें ऊबर प्रोजेक्ट करा रहा हूँ, मैं एक दूसरे बैंक में एक लीड कोड का प्रोजेक्ट करा
हम्म।
रहा हूँ, ऐसे ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट मैं
हम्म।
खुद देता हूँ, बट वो समय नहीं डालता है, क्योंकि एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम तुम्हारा जो वो वाला काम है ना, जैसे तुमने कह रहे हो कि तुम ऑलरेडी कहीं काम करते थे, तुम जब उसका एक्सपीरियंस लिखोगे ना, वो भी मैटर करे। ठीक है, तो क्लोन लोन लिखने से ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है। यू कैन, अगर तुम्हें बहुत ही अट्रैक्टिव लिखना है, तो तुम ऐसा कर सकते हो, जियो स्पेशियल लोकेशन बेस्ड ड्राइविंग ऐप। क्योंकि अब तुम ड्राइविंग ऐप लिख दोगे ना, बच्चों ने
हम्म।
इतनी गंदगी कर रखी है ना क्रड ऐप बना बना के, लोगों को लगेगा बस एक क्रड ऐप है, ड्राइवर बनता होगा, बुकिंग बनती होगी, दैट्स। अब तुम लिखोगे ना
जी
जियो
सर।
स्पेशल डेटा बेस्ड ड्राइविंग ऐप या ड्राइविंग बैकएंड,
ड्राइविंग
तो फिर उस पर
बैकएंड,
ध्यान
यस।
जाएगा कि अच्छा जियो स्पेशल डेटा करके क्या लिखा है बंदे ने, कौन सा डीबी यूज करता है, करके देखा है, फेच करके देखा है, आता है डेटा, इंटरनली कैसे चलता है। क्योंकि अब तुम देख रहे हो ना, तुम्हारे पास जैसे ही तुम ये प्रोजेक्ट लिख दोगे ना, सारे बच्चों को मैं कह रहा हूँ, तुम
हम्म।
अपने सामने बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस ओपन कर दोगे। आज हमने काफका के ऊपर बात करी, तुम्हें सीधा क्वेश्चन आएगा, काफका में और नॉर्मल क्यूज में क्या फर्क है। ठीक है, तुम टॉप 50 काफका क्वेश्चंस पढ़ के जाओ, उसके बाद तुमने सॉकेट्स लिख दिए, वहीं पे सॉकेट्स पे क्वेश्चन आना शुरू हो जाएंगे। तुमने अब लिखा है कि जियो स्पेशल डेटा, जियो स्पेशल डेटा पे क्वेश्चन आएंगे। ठीक लग रहा है। तो ऐसे
जी
जितना,
सर।
क्योंकि हमने इतने सारे टॉपिक इसमें कवर किए ना, उतने सारे टॉपिक तुम्हें खुद पढ़ने भी पड़ेंगे।
जी सर, इसीलिए मैंने पूछा कि मतलब मेन अभी रिज्यूम में से देने के लिए अभी, क्योंकि जॉब तो ढूंढना पड़ेगा अभी।
हाँ, तो मैं वही कह रहा
रिज्यूम
हूँ, मैं अपनी तरफ
सिलेक्ट
से इतना एफर्ट
करना।
मार दूंगा, बिकॉज मेरे पास जीपीटी प्रीमियम है। तो
जी सर।
मैं जीपीटी को मैं भी प्रॉम्प्ट देके ये चीज कर दूंगा कि मतलब, क्योंकि अब हमने बहुत सारी चीजें करी है, तो बेटर है कि एआई टूल से लिखवा लें एंड मेक इट गुड लुकिंग। अगर तुम्हारे रिज्यूमे में कुछ नहीं है लिखने के लिए, बिल्कुल एकदम एम्प्टी है, तब तो तुम जितना डिटेल में लिख सको उतना डिटेल में लिखो। ठीक है, और मतलब मैं तो ये कहूंगा कि अगर बिल्कुल ही रिज्यूमे में कुछ नहीं है, तो इस प्रोजेक्ट पे और काम करो अभी, इस प्रोजेक्ट में और फीचर्स ऐड करो, इसमें और एंड टू एंड फ्लोज ऐड करो, जिससे और थोड़ा सा मतलब इम्पैक्टफुल लगे। कोई और टेक्नोलॉजी इसमें इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हो, डू दैट ऑल्सो, बट आफ्टर सम पॉइंट इट विल बी एन ओवरकिल। ये मैं तुम्हें पहले बता दूं।
जी सर।
ठीक लग रहा है।
जी सर।
इनफैक्ट मैंने तुम्हें कोरा, एज आकाश सेड,
जी।
तुम्हें कोरा का प्रोजेक्ट भी बनाने के लिए दिया था, तुम वो भी ऐड कर सकते हो। वो ऑल दो बेसिक क्रड ऐप है, बट वो भी तो तुमने प्रोजेक्ट बनाया होगा।
उसमें सर वही मतलब तो वही क्वेश्चन है कि सेम लिखेंगे सर कोरा बैकएंड की नाम चेंज करना, या फिर उसमें कोई मैटर नहीं करता है, मतलब क्लोन
मैटर नहीं
का
करता
लिख
ब्रो,
सकते हैं?
मैटर नहीं करता, बस अपना गिटहब का लिंक डाल देना ताकि लोग देख पाए।
अच्छा। नहीं मेरे को
मैटर
मतलब एक्चुअली
नहीं, नेम
सर
मैटर नहीं करता।
रिज्यूम में
ये तो मैं
इंडस्ट्री बेस्ड दिखना चाहिए कि क्या किया है, इंडस्ट्री बेस्ड
दिखा
तो
दिखाया
उसको।
तो था इंडस्ट्री में, अभी तो दिखाया भाई, वो मेरा रिज्यूमे
हाँ।
आज तक रिज्यूमे राउंड में कहीं रिजेक्ट नहीं हुआ है।
अच्छा
और
अच्छा।
कभी नहीं हुआ मेरा रिज्यूमे राउंड में, कभी कहीं किसी कोई ऐसी कंपनी ने मेरे को रिज्यूमे मेरे, एक कंपनी थी इसने बहुत कॉलेज के टाइम पे एक बारी वीएमवेयर ने मेरे को रिज्यूमे राउंड में रिजेक्ट किया हुआ है बस। और आज तक आई डोंट रिमेंबर एज ऑफ नाउ कि किसी ने मेरे को रिज्यूमे राउंड में रिजेक्ट किया हो। और भाई ये ट्विच क्लोन पे लिखा हुआ था भाई मैंने, तो आधे लोगों को तो पता भी नहीं होगा ट्विच क्या होता है, इंडिया में आधे लोगों को पता ही नहीं है ट्विच क्या होता है। ठीक है, तो
जी।
क्लोन लिखने से कुछ नहीं होता। देखो हर प्रोजेक्ट तुम बनाओगे ना, तुम मेरे को एक
हम्म।
प्रोजेक्ट बता दो जो किसी चीज का क्लोन नहीं है, चलो बताओ, मैं तुम्हें डेफिनेटली बता दूंगा एक एप्लीकेशन जो ऑलरेडी बनी हुई है वो सेम काम करती है।
जी।
कोई भी बता दो, कॉम्प्लेक्स इंजीनियरिंग वाले बता दो। तुम कोई फ्रेमवर्क भी बनाओगे तो मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन
हम्म।
फ्रेमवर्क बनाओगे, बने हुए हैं। तुम कोई
हम्म।
बैकएंड फ्रेमवर्क बनाओगे, बने हुए हैं। तुम
जी।
फूड डिलीवरिंग ऐप बनाओगे, बनी हुई है जोमेटो।
बनी हुई है। हम्म।
तुम मान लो अलर्ट मॉनिटरिंग प्रोजेक्ट बनाओगे कि भाई मेरे अलर्ट मॉनिटरिंग डैशबोर्ड है, कोई भी आके इंटीग्रेट कर सकता है, बना हुआ है न्यू relic। तुम बनाओगे कि भाई मैं तुम्हारे एप्लीकेशन टेस्टिंग का फ्रेमवर्क बना के देता हूँ, बना हुआ है ब्राउजर स्टैक, मोबाइल ऐप टेस्टिंग, वेब ऐप टेस्टिंग, सब कुछ देता है वो। और नया तुमने बना लिया है, सही कह रहा है आकाश, अगर तुमने नया बना लिया तो तुम्हारे पास स्टार्टअप है भाई, तुम्हें जॉब क्यों चाहिए। तुमने अगर एकदम नया प्रोजेक्ट कुछ बना लिया है जो अब तक नहीं था, भाई जाके कहीं शार्क टैंक में फंडिंग उठाओ, रिज्यूमे में डाल के कुछ नहीं होगा उसको। इट्स लाइक दैट। तो हर प्रोजेक्ट का क्लोन एग्जिस्ट करता है ब्रो, ठीक है ना। हर प्रोजेक्ट
ठीक
का
है सर।
क्लोन एग्जिस्ट करता ही करता है, इन सम फॉर्म ऑफ अनदर। तो तुम्हारे प्रोजेक्ट की ना डिटेल्स मैटर करेंगी, प्रोजेक्ट का नेम मैटर नहीं करेगा।
ठीक है
और प्रोजेक्ट नेम भी जीपीटी दे देगा। और बताओ, रुको मैंने स्क्रीन शेयर करी हुई है, ये भी किसी का एकदम क्रेजी आइडिया। रुको, आजकल तो
सर।
जीपीटी वैसे
नहीं है
इतना
अभी।
इनोवेटिव हो गया। दिख रही है मेरी स्क्रीन, गूगल करूंगी।
हाँ हाँ।
कैन यू सजेस्ट सम क्रेजी क्रेजी प्रोजेक्ट नेम फॉर द अबव। दो बार क्रेजी लिखा है, देखो कितना करता है। राइड वेव, ओहो भाई ये तो सच में अच्छा नाम है भाई, ये सच में अच्छा नाम है भाई। जर्नी ग्रिड, स्विफ्ट स्ट्रीम, ये तो स्ट्रीमिंग प्रोजेक्ट का बढ़िया नाम है।
देखते
ठीक है,
सब इंटरेस्ट जग जाएगा सर कि क्या है पूछने के लिए।
हाँ, और देखो ना, और तुम जी, ये स्मार्ट एंड फास्ट वाले सही कर रहा हूँ मैं। और क्या है मोर, राइडर प्रोवाइडर, ऑर्बिट राइड, वेरी नाइस नेम टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, वेरी नाइस नेम। एस्ट्रा राइड, इको ड्राइव, हाइपर ट्रांजिट, वेलोसिटी नेट, ऑल्दो वेरी बिग नेम्स फॉर अ राइडिंग ऐप। जैसे ओला इज अ वेरी नाइस स्मॉल नेम, बट ऑर्बिट राइड अच्छा है। तो ऐसे नाम तो जीपीटी बता दे, मतलब ये सब तो प्रॉब्लम्स रही नहीं ना। प्रॉब्लम है तुम प्रोजेक्ट तो कंप्लीट करो तुम सब। बात समझ में आ रही है? कोई है जिसने
जी
अभी
सर।
तक एंड टू एंड, अभी तक का जितना प्रोजेक्ट बनाया उतना प्रोजेक्ट पूरा एंड टू एंड बनाया हुआ है, कोई है क्लास में? आकाश कह रहा है ऑलमोस्ट। आकाश, लास्ट लेक्चर तक। आई एम सेंडिंग यू माई ईमेल आकाश। मेरे को अपना रिज्यूमे भेज दियो और लेट्स टॉक। ठीक है आकाश, डोंट सेंड दिस ईमेल टू एनीवन अदरवाइज आई विल किल यू। ठीक है, सेंड मी योर रिज्यूमे ऑन माई ईमेल एंड लेट्स टॉक। ठीक है, तो तुम देख रहे हो क्लास में अभी एक या दो ही बच्चे हैं जिन्होंने प्रोजेक्ट जहां तक मैंने बना लिया वहां तक बनाया, क्योंकि इतना पढ़ना भी बहुत मुश्किल है भाई, बहुत कुछ डिस्कस कर लिया हमने, बहुत ज्यादा। ठीक है, तो ओमकार को बात तो शायद ऑलरेडी हो। ठीक है ओमकार, तेरे को भी भेजा मैंने। ठीक है, तो जिसने अभी देखो अभी तक बना रखा है, दे शुड गेट अ रिवॉर्ड राइट, तो लेट्स सी इफ आई कैन डू समथिंग विद देम। बट समझ रहे हो ना सोमनाथ मेरी बात, पहले प्रोजेक्ट
जी सर।
बनाना इंपॉर्टेंट है, फिर प्रोजेक्ट को सेल भी करना इंपॉर्टेंट है। जीपीटी उसमें भी हेल्प करेगा, बट बनाना तो तुम्हें खुद पड़ेगा ना।
जी सर।
ठीक लग रहा है? चलो।
सर आपने रिज्यूम कहाँ से एटीएस फ्रेंडली, क्योंकि एटीएस फ्रेंडली का जब भी चेक करते हैं अलग अलग साइड में अलग अलग
यार मैं तो कभी
स्कोर
एटीएस
देता
फ्रेंडली
है,
अपना
पता
रिज्यूमे चेक किया नहीं है, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट।
है सर हम लोग
तुम लोग
करते तो
कहाँ से
सब
चेक करते
अलग
हो?
अलग दे
तुम लोग
देता
कहाँ
है।
से चेक करते
हाँ?
हो? तुम लोग कहाँ
वो
से चेक करते
जॉब स्कैन है, resume.io है, उस सब
फ्री
से
वाला
तो
बता,
सर
फ्री बता,
अलग अलग। हाँ,
फ्री बता, फ्री।
फ्री वाला ही सर, उसमें जॉब स्कैनर है, उसमें स्कोर बता देता है, उसके
जॉब
बाद
स्कैनर, रिज्यूमे, रिज्यूमे क्या लिखूं?
या फिर एटीएस स्कोर इस टाइप का करके लिखते हैं तो सर
इसको
बहुत सारा आ जाता है।
ये
हाँ हाँ। जी
स्कैन
सर।
योर रिज्यूमे। ले भाई, ले भाई। मैं कभी नहीं चेक किया अच्छा स्कैन भाई, और किया भी होगा तो मुझे याद नहीं है, इतना इनसिग्निफिकेंटली आया होगा मेरा स्कोर, मेरे को याद ही नहीं। एक
सर
एट सम पॉइंट
डज
ऑफ
इट
टाइम।
मैटर?
Does it matter? It might matter, but if your profile and your skill is too good, then probably it doesn't. भाई सर्च ही नहीं होता क्या, क्या किया है यार? डाउनलोड्स, ये रुको, कैंसिल। हाँ, ये यहाँ से फिर ड्रॉप कर लेते हैं। रैंडम स्कोर आता है, खुद ही कह रहे बच्चे रैंडम। पेस्ट है, जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन भी लो, ले भाई माइक्रोसॉफ्ट की उठा लेते हैं, वहां तो इंजीनियर हो ना। ले भाई यार, जो गूगल की उठाते रहो, एक्स एक्स गूगलर हो भाई। गूगल करियर्स उठाते हैं, कोई गूगल की जो देखे भाई। देखे एक्स गूगलर को गूगल के लिए कंपैटिबल समझता है, नहीं समझता है, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर। क्या उठाए? सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर नहीं आ रही है भाई, ये आ रही ना। ये तो ए आई कर रहा भाई, ए आई नहीं है। किसके लिए करा जा रहा है? कंप्यूटर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर। भाई आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस क्यों लिख देते हैं भाई ये लोग को? गूगल पे में नहीं आ रखी? गूगल पे प्रोडक्ट एनालिस्ट, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर, इस पे आना चाहिए ना भाई कुछ तो मेरा। आ देते हैं। ठीक है, गूगल पे की ले लिया भाई, मैं एक्स गूगल पे हूँ, ठीक है। देखते हैं भाई क्या समझता है इसको। पेस्ट स्कैन, साइन तो भाई साइन भी कर देंगे भाई, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। कंटिन्यू। 404 भाई, क्या स्कैम है? रुको फिर से करते हैं, स्कैन योर रिज्यूमे, फिर से ले भाई तू। भाई क्या स्कैम वेबसाइट है भाई, साइन अप करा के खुद बनाने का भाई। ओ भाई साइन अप करा के बना दिया भाई, क्या दिक्कत है भाई? अब नहीं दिया ना भाई इसने स्कैन, मैं बताऊंगा इसको, नहीं अब आ रहा है, ठीक है। ठीक है भाई, कुछ तो आ रहा है। अब भाई ये मत कहना कि इसके लिए पैसे चाहिए तुम्हें। हाँ डिसमिस, चल। क्या है मेरा स्कोर, कहाँ लिखा है? लो भाई लो। मैं अपने अपनी एक्स टीम के लिए ही लो मैच हूँ भाई। वाह, क्रेजी क्रेजी। अब मैं
अलग अलग साइड में जाएंगे ना, अलग अलग रैंक मतलब स्कोर देता है सर।
आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के
पता
लिए
ही
तो नो
नहीं
ही
मतलब।
देगा मुझे, ठीक है। मैं अपनी ही टीम की बस सिंगापुर डिवीजन के लिए, अब मेरा रिज्यूमे ऑप्टिमाइज नहीं है। अबे तो इस सब से मुझे इतना ज्यादा नहीं लगता कोई फर्क पड़ता है, बच्चे माथा मारते रहते हैं इसमें। मेरी अपनी टीम में तो भाई, मेरी अपनी टीम की हायरिंग सर्च करी है मैंने, क्या भाई। तो इट डजेंट मैटर टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू मी, बट अगेन बच्चे करते ही हैं तो मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकता। ठीक है, तो इतना ज्यादा नहीं होता। जिसमें एक क्लीन रेज्यूमे, जिसमें एक नाइस रेज्यूमे, प्लीजिंग टू द आई रेज्यूमे, इट विल बी मोस्टली एटीएस फ्रेंडली।
ओके
और
सर।
मतलब भाई मैं अब मैं क्या ही दिखाऊं मतलब, रुको मैं दिखाई देता मेरे को फिर से। अब देखा देख रहे हो ना, अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस वेबसाइट, मैं अब मेरे को गूगल से तो कॉल नहीं आनी चाहिए है ना। अगर मान लो मैंने गूगल में अप्लाई किया, मेरे रिज्यूमे तो मतलब फर्स्ट सेकंड में बाहर हो जाना चाहिए ना भाई। लो दिया है भाई, लो, मॉडरेट भी नहीं दिया है, लो। ठीक है। एक सेकंड, एक चीज दिखाता हूँ तुमको। ठीक है, तो बस ये हाइड कर देता हूँ इंस्पेक्ट एलिमेंट करके, ताकि भाई ना दिखे स्पैन। ठीक है, और ये भी हटा देते हैं भाई। दो तीन चीज़ें बस इंस्पेक्ट एलिमेंट करके हटा लूँ, पर्सनल डिटेल्स इंस्पेक्ट। ठीक है, ये चलो, ये देख रहे हो, ये स्क्रीन शेयर कर देते हैं भाई। देख रहे हो कब की मेल है? ये भी 26 अप्रैल की है। देखिए सबको, 26 अप्रैल की मेल है। मैंने बस मैंने रिवर्ट नहीं किया हुआ है, क्योंकि अभी मैं नहीं दे रहा हूँ। खुद से ही कॉल आ जा रही है, खुद ही। अभी छोड़ा है मैंने 3 महीने पहले, फिर ही आ गई है कॉल। तो और टेक्निकली इनके लिए तो भाई मैं गूगल में से तो बाहर ही होने वाला हूँ, मतलब मेरा रेज्यूमे तो नहीं होगा भाई सिलेक्ट। भाई नहीं करता भाई मैटर इतना ज्यादा, अगर तुम देखो तो मतलब एटीएस के स्कोर के पीछे मत भागो। तुम्हारा रिज्यूमे ना देख के तुम्हें पता लग जाएगा भाई मेरा रिज्यूमे अच्छा है। एक इंट्यूटिव, एक देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज इंट्यूशन। तो तुम्हें इंट्यूटिवली पता लग जाएगा भाई मेरा रिज्यूमे सही है। ठीक है, तो पहले इंट्यूटिवली सही बना लो, फिर एटीएस स्कोर बढ़ा लो। जहाँ जिसको कॉल आनी होती है ना भाई, वह वैसी आती है। तो तुम्हारे स्किल और प्रोजेक्ट और इम्पैक्ट ज्यादा मैटर करेगा, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट।
ठीक है, थैंक यू सर।
एनीबॉडी एल्स हैविंग एनी क्वेश्चंस? एनीबॉडी एल्स हैविंग एनी क्वेश्चन? मजा आया सबको ओवरऑल प्रोजेक्ट में? हाउ वाज योर ओवरऑल एक्सपीरियंस? हमारा, मेरे लिए भी पहली बार था स्प्रिंग बूट जावा, इतनी सारी जावा एक साथ डेव की फॉर्म में इन अ क्लास। मैंने भी शायद पहली बार लिखी है। मतलब ऑफ कोर्स कंपनी में डेव करना और क्लास में डेव जावा में पढ़ाने में बहुत फर्क है। हाउ वाज योर ओवरऑल एक्सपीरियंस? एनीथिंग स्पेसिफिक दैट यू वांट टू कन्वे? मतलब मैं चाहता था कि ऐसा ना लगे कि जो लोग नोड में हैं, नोड वाले कोर्स में कुछ ज्यादा कम्प्लेक्सिटी है, और स्प्रिंग बूट का कोर्स रिलेटिवली बस सिंपल सिंपल स्प्रिंग बूट कोर्स है। तो आई वांटेड टू मेक श्योर दैट। तो एनीथिंग, एनी फीडबैक, एनीथिंग दैट यू गाइस फील दैट शुड हैव, मतलब इस मतलब बहुत सारे एक्सपेरिमेंट्स थे इस कोर्स में। जैसे कोर्स का प्राइस रिलेटिवली बाकी कोर्सेज के प्राइस से मैंने कब रखा था, और कोर्स का पेस थोड़ा फास्टर रखा था, ताकि थिंग्स गेट कंप्लीटेड ऑन टाइम एंड लाइक यू गाइस कैन गेट अनब्लॉक्ड ऑन टाइम। सो anything specific that you guys want to talk about or like mention, any feedback, anything? Garvit says best course, confidence आ रहा है। That was the agenda गर्वित, मतलब क्रड बना के ज्यादा किसी का फायदा होता नहीं है। तो I added so many complexities to make sure that we are able to discuss about so many things. Thanks Somnath. Anybody else with anything? Sir, after completing the project I'll build full resume। तो क्या आप मुझे किसी भी कंपनी रेफर दे सकते हो? सर्विस बेस्ड टाइप में टारगेट है। एक बार ही बना गर्वित एंड देन सेंड मी, तब देखते हैं। अभी मैंने उन लोगों को अपना मेल दिया था जिन्होंने सिंसियरिटी के साथ अब तक भी बनाया। I wrote any kind of Java for the first time apart from DSA. Course pay seemed to be fine to me. Gave 2 interviews on Spring Boot. Almost answered all questions. I can already see your performance in the class was good, Akash. So that's also one factor apart from the course. Your own efforts were also good. Ritik says backlog clear करना पड़ेगा, best है। या backlog clear करना पड़ेगा। I believe हमने काफी कुछ कर लिया डिस्कस। Like since we started with Uber, a lot of things came up. लाइक वन आफ्टर, मतलब हर क्लास में आई गेस कुछ तो नया ही पढ़ रहे होते थे। लाइक अभी इस क्लास का मुझे याद है कि अभी हमने इस क्लास में अभी ये पढ़ा काफका एंड ऑल। पिछली क्लास में सारा माइक्रो सर्विस सिंक्रोनस कम्युनिकेशन और वेब सॉकेट को फ्रंट एंड से वो कम्युनिकेट किया था। फिर उससे पहले वेब सॉकेट और स्टॉम्प वॉम्प पढ़ा था। उससे पहले रेडिस और लोकेशन सर्विसेज पढ़ी थी। उससे पहले हमने एक क्लास में वो करा था जो एंटिटी सर्विस का एक अलग प्रोजेक्ट बना। बहुत कुछ, मतलब लास्ट 6-7 क्लासेस में तो बिल्कुल ही एकदम ही नेक्स्ट लेवल ही पहुंच गई थी डिस्कशन, आई बिलीव। बट या, it was like you guys were also a nice audience, to be very honest, and deployment वाले lectures I'll upload as soon as possible within the next 2.5 weeks. ठीक है, I'll keep you guys posted on that. Do cover your backlog. Let us know if you have any comments, anything, and let's meet soon. And I'll be planning some live YouTube lives also around Spring Boot soon, so maybe you guys can join me there as well. If I'll be doing some more YouTube lives, for example, I did a YouTube live on WebRTC with Node.js. I'm not sure how many of you guys joined me there. You guys can join me some YouTube lives. The Discord channel and the Discord will be open. You guys can talk to me and let's take it up from there. That being said, let's wrap this particular session here, guys. We're going to meet soon in the next maybe recorded videos. Sure, Somnath, nice idea. Spring Boot interview questions we can do. So till then, take care, guys. Bye-bye. Have a really lovely week ahead and keep coding, everyone.